There's green milk. Oh.
It sounds as gross as it looks.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's your green milk?
No, it's been left in here.
It's your milk. All right, we're back on the live stream, still under lightning delay right now out here at TEF1 Atlantic. The whole crew's here. Our sideline man is up in the booth right now, not allowed to be outside, working for FedEx, but he's up in the booth now. So welcome, Drew.
Thank you for having me.
And so I mean, I guess we could chat a little bit about the track. We have about a half-mile track out here. It's called Avenger.
Yep.
Out here at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
0.6 miles.
Yep.
Six turns.
I mean, it's pretty exciting. It's like on the level of what TEF1 provides. Like if you look at the last event in SoCal and then compare it to this track is beautiful. It's right on par, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's definitely got a fast pace, a couple good corners there, and some elevation changes too, which is really interesting as well.
And such an awesome facility out here too. We have
Definitely.
500 acres out here at the New Jersey Motorsports Park. We're staying on track on the racetrack over there on the other side of here. It is.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good time so far, despite the weather, a little bit of inclement weather out here. But it looks like if we look behind us, maybe some breaks in the clouds. Hopefully we'll get this lightning pass, so we'll be able to get back outside and get things going.
Yes.
Yeah, we deal a lot with like lightning delays. So at this track here, for those who don't know, if there's a lightning strike nearby, I think it's within 15 miles or so, there's kind of a warning that gets put out and we're not allowed out in the open areas. So we're dealing a lot with the weather right now, but I'll tell you, the spirits are pretty high, Drew. You've been talking to a lot of the people out there. What are the people saying?
Everyone is really looking forward to it. I mean, they want to get on the track. They want to race. They paid to be here to race, so they're definitely excited for that. And a few of the guys out here definitely put down some serious fast times. That straightaway right there, it's got some little bit of wobbles towards that end there, a couple crashes in that first turn. So, but it's been a really eventful time, and people are definitely looking forward to actually getting out there. So once this rain passes, we get some blowers out there, clear up the track, and let the race crew do their thing.
Yeah, we'll jump straight into head-to-head heat races coming up after this. 3 laps in those heat races, and then we'll be taking people a hard cut straight into the main events. Maybe a little bit of an abridged schedule to get everything in out here today. But we're going to get some racing in. I'm fairly certain that this is going to pass, and we're going to be racing here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see them racing before. Like Drew said, they were going fast. We had a couple people like just figuring out the track, maybe slipping out a little bit, getting back on their wheel, and keep going along. So, I mean, it's exactly on par. It's great to see that out there.
Yep.
Yeah, and seeing these, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just a few of the bikes and stuff like that. These custom-built bikes, these guys came out here. Some of them are like these little tiny like mini bikes, and these guys are just ripping down this track, like hitting like 50 miles an hour. It looks like in that straightaway. It's pretty wild to see. So I don't get to see too much of that, but TEF1's bringing it, so it's definitely fun.
And we have the chat pulled up right now, so if you guys are on the live, want to ask some questions, have some conversations with us, we're here, we're hanging out. Get in there, ask some questions, have some comments, talk about how nice we look, talk about the mustaches and the beard.
I say the FedEx delivery, I'm just here. They pulled me in. I have no idea what I'm actually doing.
So right now I'm just grabbing the link for the live stream, and I'm telling all my friends at home, we're back up, we're getting ready to go, and if you want to say something in chat, you got an opportunity.
Yeah, get out there on your socials, share, get everyone in here. We got, looks like a handful of people in here. Let's double that, let's triple that, let's get people in here. We're going to have racing coming up soon. We got some brighter skies coming out outside.
I see some patches of blue over there. So
one low Cuban over here peeping it. Looks like it's going to be happening here shortly. So yeah, jump in the chat. We're just going to be hanging out. I mean, it's pretty much a podcast at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's a great opportunity to really get to know some of these racers and figure out like what are their motivations, like what really like brings them to a track like TEF1 and these events, like because we do intro to speed and all these other kind of like cones and parking lot type thing, but it's nothing like when you get out on this track.
This is like a Formula F1 track. I mean, I know a bunch of us are huge fans of that, and you see this lineup, this grid, everyone lines that way. It feels professional, which is absolutely what TEF1 is all about. So I think that future races, they've done an incredible job going from Vancouver, kind of the parking lot situation, to that SoCal setup, and now the East Coast here. And it's just it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep getting better and better, bigger and bigger, and hopefully more and more people show up and stuff like that. So.
And we have a question here from Brad Hall in the chat asking the fastest times in qualifying.
Good question. Good question.
So if we look at EUC, we had a 45.8. That was Landy Sun.
Damn.
From Washington. That guy's an animal.
Yeah, that's
D.C. Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
I mean,
yeah, we have to clarify.
Let's clarify with our other Washington side of the
Correct.
country here.
Correct.
See, I'm Canadian, so
Fair enough.
I've been corrected.
And then if I look over e-scooter, we had Nicholas Van Orden. That's also e-bike mixed in there as well.
Correct.
And we had a 46.5.
Oh, so right there.
They were going fast.
Yeah, they were cooking. You don't realize how fast these e-scooters go. Like, and these guys were putting down some serious lap times. Like, I'm like, oh, scooters are fun, and then these guys rip out. I'm like, no, these guys are really putting it down. So
Yeah, man, those Spark CycleWorks bikes, they're insane. Like, shout out to Spark CycleWorks. They've been doing some crazy work for this event, really coming out as a big, big sponsor. And to see those bikes on that track, they rip.
Yeah.
they're full-on motorcycles that those guys have built. So definitely a lot of fun.
Well, we got to see a little head-to-head in the practice, too. There's some
Yes.
passing going on out there. So I'm really looking forward to the head-to-head racing coming up. And then jumping over to Eskate, we had Josh Speed Wobbles Robinson
Nice.
up with that 51.1 as our
Wow.
top pole
So
qualifying into the heat races.
Eskate was up there. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what I really love about this Atlantic division is you're finding all these different racers coming out that don't have the opportunity to always be going out to all of the West Coast racers, and some of them are really fast.
Yep.
We're seeing that with the positions that are coming out in these results, and it's kind of surprising us, but also kind of not. And we're really happy to see it. Like being an East Coaster ourselves, I mean, we want these races out here, and we can't thank TEF1 for them enough for coming out and doing an Atlantic division race here.
100%. I know that with Electrify Expo and stuff like that in the past, we had a great race there. I think that going forward that they are, for this season, delaying the East Coast division. So this was definitely an opportunity to get everyone out here, which was fantastic. And, just looking forward to it. I agree. We need more East Coast division racing series stuff because West Coast has the weather, and clearly weather doesn't cooperate with us today. But it needs to grow a little bit further over here.
Well, and it happens. It's an outside sport. I mean, it's bound to happen. You schedule an event, weather comes.
Absolutely.
It's just the inevitable. We did skip a question. I apologize. The chicken or the egg, boys?
Ooh.
That's a great question, Eastgate, Texas, man. Eastgate, bro.
Eastgate, bro.
Eastgate, bro, Texas, man. I mean, shout out big time. I refuse. What's that amendment? Whatever you guys have, where you're
Plead
like,
the fifth. Yeah, that's
plead
our
the fifth.
Constitution.
That's the one.
Perfect. Want to give a big shout out to some of our sponsors out here today: Spark CycleWorks,
Yes.
Zeus Cycles,
Yep.
Armored,
By
Draggy Motorsports, AI Rides, and InMotion.
Yeah.
So just shout out to all those companies that help support this, make this a thing. Shout out to TEF1 for making this happen.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're waiting it out, and it's looking better and better every time I look back out this window.
Yeah. It's great to see those sponsors coming in and supporting it. Even some smaller people like AI Rides helping out with logistics for this whole event out of New York City. Just a rider himself, along with other ones like Armor by Lazy Rolling, just riders themselves. Great supporter, broadcast sponsor of the TEF1 SoCal event. So
100%.
So it looks like we're pushing towards.
For clear for 2 hours.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 hours of clear weather coming up here shortly, looking at like 4:30 or so.
4:30,
So
yeah.
it's going to be drying out. Hopefully we'll get on track here shortly.
So are we going to be running a adjusted situation?
Yeah. So I believe just because of timing and whatnot, we're getting the breakdown right now. We were going to do multiple heats with last chance qualifiers, but with the opportunity that we have, a little 4:30 to 6:30 gap in about 45 minutes or so if we can get it dried up, we're just going to go straight in with some e-skate heats, one heat, the e-bike heat, an e-scooter heat, and then EUC's got 3 heats of both Pro and the Sportsman series.
Right.
So they're just trying to pump those out and work with the weather the best we can. Like, shout out to the TEF1 team for not giving up and truly like trying to find every solution we can to make this happen.
No,
So
absolutely. And that is the reason why there is, I think, 40 EUC racers here today. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
They showed out in droves today. They are literally, I mean, such a support system from these guys and from all over the place. I mean, international, we have Canada here, we have guys from West Coast, East Coast, down south. So it's been a really big supportive community from that sense. So massive shout out to the EUC guys for showing up in the masses.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, they were just showing up to registration, and there's a few people who didn't even register, and they're like, "Can I race?" TEF1 will figure it out.
And they did, yeah.
Yeah.
And what a cool facility, too. We have all the parking out here, tent set up in the parking lot, a lot of van setups out here. So everyone out with their mechanics set up in the parking lot. And then there's on-site camping here, and I mean, this place is
This facility is
incredible.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
we were watching a few single track racers out there, some Porsche GTR3s right behind us, a couple of BMWs. So like the track also around us, not just the go-kart track they're on right now, but these other guys are just ripping around us. So you're getting every single motorsport possible here. I think even maybe I heard a motorcycle or two go through there. I know MotoGP comes through here too. Check the website, so they sell tickets.
Again,
there for that.
another Cuban shout out. One low Cuban used to race his bike out here.
There you
So
go.
that was kind of the thought process of getting us out in this area.
Yep.
But yeah, what a great facility. What a nice little area. I got to sample some of the local cuisine at Wawa this
Oh
morning.
my God!
Yeah.
Is that your first time?
That was, well, second time. I went last night.
So
So-
so Wawa is a staple of New Jersey that's now slowly spreading down throughout like almost to Florida, I think even now too. So what was your thought process there? What did you have there?
Well, last night I just picked up some drinks. This
Okay.
morning I got a breakfast sandwich and
A sizzly.
pretty good.
They call it sizzly.
A
Wow.
sandwich is a sizzly.
A sizzly, yeah. I don't
Okay,
know why.
so I
It's a
got
Wawa thing.
some sort of chicken sizzly thing.
Nice.
So that was pretty good. Picked one up for Joe as well. Nice little trip into town this morning. Got to
Absolutely.
see the sights.
And also, you guys have experienced the Jersey left as well too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
No, we should talk
I should
about
100%
it.
talk about the
You
Jersey
got pulled
left.
over because of it.
Well, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know, and it's a learning lesson,
Yes,
right?
right.
Yeah, okay, so I may have been pulled over,
Right.
but the police, they were very generous and learning about what one of those turns is. You got to go right before you go left.
You go
Little
right to
did
go
we
left.
know.
You know, that's the Jersey jug handle. Make it right, go left. It's the most backwards way possible, but that's how we do it over here. So
Yeah, but getting back to racing, we're looking at some of those questions that are popping up in that comment section there. So if you got a burning question or something you want to see or something like that, we'll try to answer that question for you. It looks like it's drying up slowly. We're figuring our way through this,
Oh,
but
here's one. Frantic TV. What are the different categories that we're racing today?
perfect.
Great question.
great question.
Yeah, so the categories we have 4 different devices. We have the electric skateboard or longboard or electric race board, kind of your electric skateboard category. We have the e-bikes, the e-scooters, and we have 2 separate divisions of electric unicycles, also known as EUCs. We have the Sportsman category and the faster, more aggressive pro category as well.
And that was based off of qualifying times as well. So those were separated after those qualifying times to get in each division. So that eliminates that sandbagging of someone being like, maybe I shouldn't go up. Well, your time puts you in each division. So if you qualified in pro, you qualified in pro. And then everybody down on the lower half will be sportsmen.
Yeah, and for those at home who don't know what sandbagging is too, it's like when you intentionally go a little bit slower to qualify yourself in an easier position to then do really well. So this makes it really hard to do it that way, pooling everyone together, splitting them in an even half. Are you able to get your time right on that line to get in the sportsman category if you want to podium in that one? Good luck.
Yeah.
All right, a few other things. I know I will be visiting the Finish Line Pub over here at the New Jersey Motorsports Park when we get done today, checking out some more of the local sights and scenes. Fun fact about Millville, where we are right now, Mike Trout is from here.
Okay.
The Millville Meteor was his nickname back in the day out here. So I'm a big baseball guy, so that one kind of hit home for me.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see like people that come out of this area too, and
So you guys have both raced before, right? You actually placed in.
I don't know if we really call that, but yes, I did do.
Actually,
I did an
we've
electrify
all
last
three raced,
year.
nice. And you placed in stock. So do you have any? What's your mindset? What's your racer mindset going to the situation here?
Mine
yeah,
personally,
both.
stay out of people's way
Right.
and don't fall down.
Of course, that's as everyone should.
Yeah,
Done. Cut.
and go like relatively fast.
Yeah.
But mine was to stay out of the people who really were trying's way, and
But you podiumed.
yeah,
Yeah.
smooth as
And
fast,
a
baby.
shoey.
I
And a
did.
shoey at the
I did a
end.
shoey, and I did do a Lando
And you did
pop.
Orlando pop. Yeah, you did it.
So
Much more time do you need? We're
now
yeah.
chilling. Yeah, so we've been sitting here for a moment, having a time to kind of warm up our guests here in the comments section and kind of let you know, give you a lay of the grounds. But it looks like we're gonna have a little bit of action, maybe switch some cams up and give you a little view of the track.
Yeah.
they're tired of looking at us anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we're pretty faces for so long.
We got 2 excellent FPV guys out there, Post Toast and Zach.
Ryan.
Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
And Ryan. They are absolutely fantastic. They will be broadcasting us and getting some really interesting shots for the race drone series out here with these guys on track. So I'm looking forward to it. But we're gonna flip over to the drone and hopefully show you guys exactly what this 6-turn track, 0.6 miles looks like.
Also, shout out to our other FedEx team member, Corey.
Yeah, why don't you come in here, Corey?
Yeah, Corey's in here, the 4th member of our announcing and
on my lap, big
track
Yeah, for anybody who
team.
follows PEV culture, you might know a couple of these guys too, as our content creators in the crew, but official media with TEF1. So it's great to see these guys out there.
Awesome. Feels good to be here. Love it. It's been a great event so far.
Yeah.
Ooh, Drew, you're getting a
Even
compliment
though we
on
have
your
rain, it's made it
My beard?
eventful.
Thank you.
Hope everyone's enjoying their day.
Yeah.
Boston's finest right here.
Boston's finest. I was gonna say I haven't been spending much time in Boston lately.
yeah, now he's
but
a West Coast transplant.
the sun's pulling me, as you can see.
Yeah.
The weather doesn't really coordinate too well over here on the East Coast, so it's a
Hey,
gamble.
It happens.
happens.
It happens.
Hey,
and
it's all right.
yeah, we'll work through it. We're going to get out on track. It looks like things are moving in a more favorable direction. So
I love this view, by the way. This is
it's
sick.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we have one of the best views of this entire track. We're up on the, what is it, like a 3rd floor, even 4th floor. This, yeah. It's a little crow's nest that goes up and over and looks over the whole track. So if you see us looking over our shoulder, we're literally getting like almost a 360 view of what's going on around us. So
the actual beautiful thing too is that the track is only half of what we're racing today, right? So
yeah.
there's I guess even further elevation, crazy chicanes over here, but they didn't want to go as far because it would really drain a lot of the batteries from a lot of these PEVs, that charging times in between and whatnot.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the rain delays that we were dealing with and whatnot, and we're just trying to figure out a way to make this day work. We ended up cutting the track in half and using the traditional go-kart track setup that they use here at this facility. And yeah, so I mean, just kind of changing things on the go and trying to find a solution that works best, right?
Thank you, whoever complimented my beard. I appreciate that.
Yeah. That is also our boy Eskate Bro Texas. So he's
Nice.
back in there complimenting that
Thank you,
beard.
Mark.
Never tired of looking at it, he says.
Now we got Turbo EUC in chat, very
Oh, what's up,
frequent
Turbo?
rider. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe he's been around a few times.
Yeah.
To most
Turbo.
all races.
Yes. We miss you, Turbo.
Yes,
he is
we miss
also
you
in New
too,
York
buddy.
City, now West Coast transplant. He moved to Oregon over there, so he's on the West Coast now.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful family and a beautiful new place out there, and able to raise his family and ride PEVs out there. Just beautiful. What a nice setup.
Yeah.
Question from Brad Hall. What is the race structure? I heard you say head-to-head, but what from there? So you want to dive into that as far as we're doing heat races. So heat races will come up. We're going to take those top racers and move those into a main event. So we'll have 3 laps in those heat races, 5 laps in the
Finals.
finals. And it looks like we're going to have top 5 advancing out of e-scooter, e-bike, and then top 4 out of the 3 heat races for EUC, as well for both pro and sportsman. And e-skate will be 1 heat with all 11 racers to determine the final grid.
Yeah, so the e-skates are a little bit different than the other ones. The e-bikes, e-scooters, and EUCs will all have racers that advance to a final, where the e-skates, all racers will be in the final, and it's just a matter of those heats determining the starting grid.
And I think we're ready to flip over to the drones, guys. So why don't we go ahead and see this beautiful track and let these guys flip around?
Yeah, great opportunity here. DRT Racing working real hard to make all of this work. So come and see what's going on. Yeah, so we really do have I mean, it's a little glistening right now. You don't really see the beautiful grippy parts of the track, but a wonderful facility here, and a couple of these lines that these EUCs and bikes and e-scooters are able to make. It's kind of a wider track, so you get a lot more straight lines through chicanes. Some of the more experienced riders are really just hanging over that edge and just keeping basically the wheel straight but turning. So it's really cool to see that. Beautiful drone shots as we go up and around, showing you the second corner now. This is a little bit more of a slick corner that the racers have been dealing with a little bit, going into this second left-hand turn, and then into an immediate right-hand turn to bring us into a little bit of a straight right in front of all of the audience we have here and the spectators. Going around to the last corner, big straight. We could see them accelerating at this part from the audience as they make their way back to that elevated section in the back. A big, long U hairpin into these wonderful chicanes kind of going back and forth. So it's really cool to see this track. If we extended it the full amount, it would have been a lot more to discover. There's us. We're up there in our crow's nest and back down to see everything that's going down on the track. So beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it's been really interesting so far in the qualifying as well as in practice to watch some of the lines they've been taking through, using a lot of curbs and having these curbs on this track, cutting those angles and taking nice racing lines through here. But as we know, if the track is wet, racing lines do change quite a bit with a wet track as far as holding speed through corners. So that'll be an interesting adjustment with a damp track to see the difference in lines not being able to take as aggressive of a cut through some of these corners, or maybe not as much curb as well.
Yeah, a big thing, especially with the single contact patch EUC, like the one wheel, they won't be so much like leaning into their corners as much if it's wet, because that could really make them slip out. You'll find a lot they'll be racing a lot differently, keeping a lot of those devices more underneath them. I know with the stooge boards and the Eskates, they really get low, and when those tires heat up and they get really, really sticky, that rubber on them, they're able to just, like any other racing, you're fighting for grip, and they can get right to the ground. With these conditions, may not be that.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see how many people really push it to that level, push it to that edge to see how much grip they have in these corners. And then we're also going to get dry patches popping up here and there where things will change and vary throughout the different laps and throughout the track, and that'll be a lot of adjustment to figure out where you can pass, where are the right zones. Can you get off in the wet and still make a move?
Yeah, and wonderful facility, the New Jersey Motorsport Park. We got blower trucks out there, so as soon as they get an opportunity to go out there and blow on the track, they've been doing it every single time today, getting rid of those bigger patches and puddles of water. So the conditions are getting better, and hopefully they won't have to deal too much with that. But, I mean, when you have an outdoor event, this is, you get the cards that you're dealt, and you kind of got to make the best hand you've got, right? So.
Yeah, big shout out to the crew out here from New Jersey Motorsports Park, Dakota out here, making sure the track is safe and ready to go. They've been working hard all day to try to dry things out, get the blowers out there, as well as drag the track to try to dry it out as much as possible.
Yeah, beautiful blimp shots coming up here. Kind of a full view of the entire track. I can't thank our sponsors enough for making this happen. Those e-bikes we've been talking about, you'll see a few of them out there, those Spark CycleWorks bikes. Also got Zeus cycles out there too. So it'd be really great to see how those bikes go through, because, man, they were exciting.
They were exciting in practice. Some exciting crashes as well in that first corner. This long straightaway, I mean, you can really push it and get that speed up, but can you control it into that first almost full hairpin turn?
Yeah, it's great to see some of the racers coming around the last turn before the finish. It's a long turn, and some of the best racers will be finding that really wide line, getting that far right-hand side of the track before the start-finish, and some of the more inexperienced riders going less fast will be able to find that grip, get to the inside corner, and just be able to beeline straight to that finish line. So you'll see the differences in skill level, experience level, and speed.
Yeah, it was fun to watch Landy on his qualifying lap make it all the way out, pushing it all the way out to track limits, and finding that speed and those, I mean, hundredths of a second separating our top two racers in the EUC qualifying. So it's going to be some good racing out here, especially when they get head-to-head.
Yeah, and another thing to say about Landy, too, his qualifying time, the difference in his qualifying time was 0.07 seconds. This man is consistent. So it's great that you mentioned Landy, but if you watch them later on today when they get on that track, riders like Landy, you'll find their unicycle is tilted forward. So don't always look at the body of the rider. You'll find riders like Landy, their device will actually be tilting forward itself, and you'll see those are some of the fastest riders out there.
Some more beautiful shots of the track out here.
Yeah, I think really what we're trying to do is get those drones really close to the track.
That's
and
a great idea.
Fan it out, get our own little blower trucks going there.
The post-toast dryer effect out there with the drone. Shout out to our fly guys, our drone operators, Hudson and Ryan. right, we're just waiting it out. Looks like there's some blue behind us. So we might be getting things going. It might dry out and have some really good racing coming up.
Yeah.
Again, we're still just waiting it out right now. We had a lot of lightning in the area, and with how big and open this area is, it's a safety concern, and everybody has to be covered when those lightning strikes are happening.
Yeah, so shout out to our drone pilots, Post Toast and Something FPV. That is Ryan Alexander. Love them both. Very dedicated into the community. But also, jumping on here, we have our very, very wonderful race coordinator, Joe, Mr. SoCal Legend. How's it going?
It's great, man. It's great. Lovely rain day, but
How did qualifying and all the first racers coming up? What was the sentiment out there today? How are people feeling?
everyone's stoked right now. Well, while they were able to be on the track, now it's kind of like the morale's a little low. But other than that, dude, like I got out here, did my little rain walk in the morning, and it was good for a moment. But now it's like, oh,
Yeah, we're just getting an alarm back now, and it looks like it's going to be the
There
clear
we go.
alarm.
here
That's
we
the
are,
good alarm
boys.
right there.
3. We got 4.
There we go.
Yeah, all right, everybody
Let's get
sound off in the
section
comments.
going.
Go.
So if you don't know what just happened, every time there's a lightning strike, we have to wait. So we have to wait for another call to say it is clear to go. So let's go in the chat. Everyone, let's say, let's go in the chat. We are
Let's
cleared to be
go. Okay.
out in the
We need to
open,
get
so
the
we're going to get the
blowers
blowers going.
Yep, I'm out.
We got
You guys
Joe.
have a good one.
He's our man making the track happen today. So he's bringing the racers up to the line. He's making sure they're in the right place and making it all happen. So shout out to SoCal Legend, Joe himself, just making it all happen.
Let's go.
Those
right.
monsters are different in America. You know that?
How are they different?
Oh, yeah. So in Canada, 150 milligrams of caffeine. America, 300, double.
Interesting.
Yeah, if I were to have a monster, I would be up until Tuesday.
Let's just call it that one energy drink. No free ads. No
Yeah.
free ads. That one with the claw. You know what I'm talking about. But again, chat, we're about to get things going. We are now under a countdown, unsure about what time that will be. They're going to get out there, check the track. The
We got a blower.
the blower is heading on track, as you can see in the background. Just drove past us. So Dakota, our track guy, getting out there, getting the blower going.
Yeah. Shout out to Dakota, man. That guy, he realizes what we're going through here, and he is absolutely incredible. One of the main members of the New Jersey Motorsport Park team and all of their flaggers and spotters around the track. It's absolutely unreal, the amount of support we have from the staff here.
All right. Still waiting. We are going to get things started at least in the same order. We're going to start things off with Eskate first. So Eskate Heat Race, just the one race to determine the order into the final. So nobody dropping out of that. All 11 will make it to the final, which is going to be chaotic in both of those races, especially a 5-lap final main event with 11 racers.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great to see those 11 racers get out there. You might see a little bit of separation, too, in the grid. A lot of different experience levels here, too. So it'd be fun to see them get out there. And I know some of them were slightly fearful of the 5 laps, unsure if their legs were able to hold up. So it all comes back to that training, everything you do leading up to these events. TEF1 is no joke. You're going to be going far. You're going to be going fast. So.
All right. It looks like our track crew is down there having a meeting as well. Another shout out. We have Joe Beezy's down there, also one of our track crew members out here. So again, just kind of getting everything back in order, back out there. Now that we have the good alarm going off.
Yes.
So the lightning is cleared, and people are going to start heading back out, and we're going to get things going here shortly. So again, chat, get in there. More people jumping in the chat. Again, share the feed. Everybody get up in there, share the feed, put it on your socials, get everyone else in here. Get to hang out with us until we start racing, so you might as well come join it.
Yeah, I mean, we see a few people in there that we've seen many, many times before. My EUC Journey is one. John Darnell, a couple family members out here today.
Yep.
We've got Zach Darnell in 2 categories, and he's the EUC Off-Road Champion from the EUC Global Race. So someone to keep an eye out on him, too.
And you said 2 categories. He's racing on a scooter as well, right?
Yeah, so he's got an InMotion scooter that he'll be racing in the scooter series. So right now he is actually qualified 3rd in EUC. So we'll see how he does on that e-scooter today. Might be fun to see that.
Yeah, that's right. Smash that like button. Get up on there. Everyone subscribe to TEF1 as well. If you're not subscribed to TEF1, what are you doing? Get in there. Subscribe to TEF1. Subscribe to DRT Racing. Shout out to Alex, the man behind all of this, for our live timing, for the live stream itself. So
Yeah.
get on there. Follow everyone. Do all the things you got to do.
Great to see Douglas Marshall in chat. Big boy, fast boy. Love to see it. And Ricardo from Toronto. Great to see you both. Love to see that.
All right. I'm going to take a peek here. We have our side crew, our FedEx boys down there, Corey and Drew, looking good in their purple vests.
Well, it looks like we got some flaggers and spotters from New Jersey Motorsport Park team making their way to their stations as well. That's always a good sign. And we have a wheel on track assessing the conditions. It is still a little patchy. There is still a couple of some water spots, but that blower is going to get out there. It's going to make some work of that track, and it does a pretty good job cleaning it up. So
we had Dakota come in here and tell us he's going to work mainly on those standing water spots, so get the puddles out of there. It's going to be wet. We're going to be racing on a wet track until we get a little bit more sun. Hopefully we can get some dry patches out there, or at least a dry track by the main events. But, I mean, it's an outside sport. This is what you deal with.
yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of those racers out there today. Turn 1 was pretty good. They were mentioning a little bit of rubber from the go-karts and stuff on the track. It's inevitably when you run into tracks like this, going real fast, you're going to run into some of that stuff. And then turn 2 and 3, they were saying was a little slick. And we had somebody go down on number 2 and 3 and got back up there perfectly fine. Everything was good to go, but it is a little bit slippery out there.
Well, in turn 1 into turn 2 is kind of off camber too. It's not necessarily going with the turn as much. It's kind of sloping outside as well. So that may add to the little bit less traction coming through that turn into number 2.
Yeah, and just to give people a little visual on kind of the track itself, too, just from our viewpoint, we could really see the elevation. There's not much of it until you hit that very back far corner. And in that corner, it is slightly elevated and slightly banked. But along that first corner into the second, third, fourth swooping, it's quite flat.
All right, again, thank you, chat. Thanks, everyone, for coming on here, getting even more people in the mix.
E-Ride Life in the house. Good to see you out there. A host of the TEF1 SoCal race, Seth Johnson.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
All right, it looks like more people moving into position. So we're kind of getting towards that time. Looks like we're kind of looking for a 4:30-ish.
Now, let's check that radar. Let's see what the radar is saying here. It's something that everyone is kind of keeping their eye on. Because, a lot of these devices, you want to be careful. They're electric devices. You don't want to short out anything on the inside. But the biggest thing above that is just the grip and the traction. Like you're going to get hurt, essentially. So we got to make sure it's safe for everyone.
When you're talking about the one point of contact for the EUCs as well, and what a difference, too, with that compared to the e-skates and the bikes. I mean, maybe you want to jump more into that, about how that may affect them as far as the lines they take, or how they take these quarters.
So I race e-skate and I race EUC as well, and there is a drastic difference between the two when it comes to slightly questionable conditions. With the EUC, you can slip out a little bit and be able to catch it and do a little bit of a power slide, but that's very rare, far few in between, and it's really hard to get that. When you start to slip out on that EUC, your hope is kind of lost at that point, right? Where on an e-skate, sometimes you can power slide, slipstream, or slip slide into some corners and stuff where you're actually starting to lose traction frequently. So in conditions like this, you have those 4 tires on the ground with a frame. So if there is a little bit of slippage, oftentimes you can keep your feet on the board, making it a little bit easier.
Well, and similar, too, with the bikes and the scooters, able to kind of drift some of those corners, having both front and back, a little more balance. So it'll be interesting to see those EUCs getting out there. Hopefully it'll be more dry by the time we get to their heat races as well. But, I mean, a lot of these riders, they ride in this stuff. They know what they're doing.
The only ones I'm really concerned about are those e-skates. A lot of those e-skates, some of the Stooge raceboard builds and DIY builds, they got, open cavities and stuff, little spaces. It is a machine that is made for the track in absolute dry conditions. They will go out when it's wet, if they're so inclined to. But it makes it really, really difficult for those racers and riders to have true confidence in their machines when they're like that.
All right, looking back, a little more movement, a little more going on.
It's slowly going, but again, safety is priority, and this track is drying up. Yes, we just want to make sure that it is truly safe for everyone to be out there. We are working on some more content for you folks as the last of the track is drying up. We do have two of the main men who have made TEF1 a reality, and they're sitting down on trackside right now. You might be able to see them a little behind us there as our media crew down there is getting ready. But we want to have a chance maybe at some point today to be able to chat with them.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting cameras going down there. Hopefully have a little conversation so you don't have to just listen to the two of us.
I mean, we're good people, but we might get tired after a while. You know.
Yeah, it's fair.
But definitely making, like, I cannot say enough, commend everyone here, even on the crew, but the racers themselves, very high-spirited, realizing the situation that we're all in and just trying to make the best of it. We had a great beginning of the day, some great qualifiers and practice, and really got to see people on the track. So
Some really fast laps as well. Just unfortunate timing with a little bit of this weather cell moving in here. And again, a lot of it wasn't necessarily even the rain. It's just the lightning pushed us a little longer on that delay.
Yeah.
Having to shut down here. And that is one of the things in an open space like this. The cars stopped racing around the outside as well. So we just have to work with what we got. But we're going to get things going. I'm not going to promise anything. I don't want to be that guy. I'm knocking on wood over here. But we're going to get things going.
yeah, great to see the last Warrior in chat too. A lot of New York City folks coming out for this race too, and that's great to see, having a race so close to them, seizing that opportunity and coming out here. So a few of them, AI Rides, Alex Pacheco, Mr. Suit was out here, a bunch of people. So great to see them all.
Looks like our secondary media crew has run off, so maybe we won't be going straight to them. So it looks like you guys are stuck with us for even longer.
Please, and if you have any questions in chat, we're looking right at that comment section right now. We can keep this show rolling all day if you really want, but we have a lot of answers to your questions, like, is the rain wet, says Wheelie Brady. Love this man. Love this man so much.
Fair question.
Is the rain wet or is the wet rain? That doesn't work.
The rain is wet.
The rain is wet. Yeah, so yeah, the rain is wet,
And the
unfortunately.
track is wet.
Yeah, so anytime lightning goes off close to the facility, we got to wait 15 minutes. And that is just protocol of the motorsport park here. So we got that clear, and hopefully we don't see any more lightning. It's actually starting to brighten up a little bit, too. It was really dark in this room for a few minutes. So
Yeah, we can hear some cars going in the background as well. So the cars around the outside track are now moving.
that's a great point.
So we're about to get some bikes and scooters on track to assess the conditions. And the other update that we have, we're going to switch the order. So we're going to change things around. And per requested by the racers, we're going to have the e-skaters, like you were talking about, go last, hopefully increasing the grip for them when they go out there.
Yeah, so it seems I hit it on the mark. They're really worried about that waterproofing.
You nailed it.
Nailed it.
Just nailed it, bud.
It's almost like I'm an e-skater and I know, and I would have this perpetual fear myself with this rain in here. So it's really, really glad to see those e-skates getting an opportunity for the track to dry up, because they have got things, open access parts in the back, like phase wires that are attached in, and if water touches those, it could arc and cause a problem. And it's all open access. It's not like an EUC with a motherboard on the inside. Think about an EUC, and you take the motherboard and you put it on the outside and then ride in rain. So it's really great to see those e-skates getting an opportunity to push back, get a little time for the track to dry up, and get those e-scooters, e-bikes out there to assess it. And then we'll be on our way for those, I guess we're going to go into e-bike, e-scooter, and then our EUC heats.
Yeah, it looks like we have a bike on track now, so we're going to see how the conditions are. We'll hear on the radio back from our race directors down there, Joe and Jonathan. They'll keep us updated on track conditions, and then we're going to jump into the heat. All right, again, we are still doing some sighting laps out here, getting some racers on track to see how things are looking as it dries up.
And it is drying up out there. We are seeing more of those dry patches, those UC Pro out there right now, just getting a little view at the track. They've all just been flagged off, and we are on to the Sportsman, getting their view of the track. So just so you know, we were off audio there for a quick second. We're getting assessment laps in there. So we just got the e-bikes out there, the e-scooters out there, just giving them a couple laps to suss out this track. We don't want them sitting around all day. We got to get these racers on the track, and that's exactly what TEF1 is doing out there today. Working really hard. We're condensing the schedule, doing singular heats of a lot of these races just to get to a final. We're watching that radar. We got our local meteorologist out there, Mr. Race Coordinator Joe, SoCal legend.
Local Joe.
Local Joe.
Yep.
Although he's not local to here.
New Jersey legend, Joe.
The legend of it.
Yep. He's been here a day. He's a legend already. Looks like he's probably on his live right now. So don't watch his live. Watch this one.
Yeah. And for the first time since the rain has fallen, it's looking like we're getting some e-skates lining up in the staging area to get their opportunity to get on the track and just kind of suss out what's going on here.
And that'll be an interesting test, too, like you were saying, to see how they get out there and handle it. But also, I mean, we don't want spray. They don't want that moisture getting up in their machine, in their ESC in there. They don't want anything messing it up.
Yeah, 100%. But these e-skates, they have open wheels, and all that debris and all the water and everything flares up all around their legs. It's not like an EUC or an e-scooter. You're putting fenders on it. You could stop a lot of that. So these e-skates got a lot more to worry about, but quite an intense machine to find racing on a track. So it's catch-22 on that one. We had some great racers out there, too. As we were off on that little audio break, I was mentioning how there are some great racing teams out there. One that cannot be denied is Alien Rides Racing. Alien Rides out there representing strong with the Vargases and all the peoples. We also have a couple Toronto E-Riders, but a new racing syndicate coming out of Canada, too. Synchro Racing Syndicate with some of the fastest racers in Canada finding their way back.
Some good shots with the drone there. Getting out, seeing what we have going on. Great perspective out here. You can see some of those dry patches starting to pop up. So the more they get on that racing line as well, the faster that's going to dry up.
And hopefully we got those drone shots up there so you really start to get in there. I know people in the chat, they were asking about the drone shots. Well, we're working real hard with our great drone shots going.
All right, it looks like we have some e-skaters making their way out on track as well. So again, just a couple sighting laps for all the different classes out here as it continues to dry out here in Melville, New Jersey, the New Jersey Motorsports Park. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you in just a minute to get things going with our racing. So we'll be back here in just a minute. We're going to get some heat races going.
Feels good. We've been waiting for this all day, but those sighting laps are going around the track right now, and they're having a fun time just trying to negotiate what's going on here. So we'll be back pretty soon. All right, everyone. It looks like we are getting our e-bikes lined up on the starting grid to go out for their heat race. Some notable riders out there. We got Sturbo out there. Declan Courant is out there. Van Orden, Nicholas Van Orden. This man was fast. Top of the positions, right?
Yeah, very fast, but it was tight up at the top. I mean, we were still within a second up there in those top qualifying positions. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm looking forward to seeing some head-to-head racing about to get going here as they make their way into their grid positions. We have Joe out there lining them up, getting them staged and ready to roll.
Yeah, exciting racers. We got Billy Blowers out there, King Josh, James Darnell, Matthew Spark, Carissa Saccone, Tao Markovich, Eric Wilson, Michael Brown, Blake Rodovic, Tony Ortiz, Joseph Taylor, and Zach Darnell. Very exciting to see this. Oh, sorry, those last names from Eric Wilson to Zach Darnell are actually scooters. And right now we have our e-bikes on the track. And you see the racers out there. They are burning rubber. Now, why would they be burning rubber? Grip. Just grip.
Heating those things up, getting them sticky, as much grip as possible. But, I mean, the sun is coming out more and more. This track is drying very fast.
I would say on some of this backstretch area here, it may be more dry than wet. And this is great signs as we're trying to make our way through these weather patterns and get these races underway. What's going up? It'll be soon. All right, Joe's making his way to the front, SoCal legend. And we got our media making their way off the track as well. I'm sure we will get ready to hit that green flag very soon. And we have a green flag. They're off for the e-bike heat races.
Yeah, making their way into that first corner. And again, off camber into corner number 2, so trying to dump a lot of speed, but it is drying quickly there, finding some grip into that next straightaway. Looks like a nice battle heating up. 1, 2, and through 3, tight into the hairpin, and a pass around the outside up into second place.
These here are some of our more slippery corners, so you'll see them going a little bit slower, but it's still a really good battle, like you said, for second and third there.
And it looks like that's Nick VO in second, so getting past in that first corner and dropping back off that pole position. So as they make their way around lap number 1 through the back-to-back chicanes and coming to the front straightaway carrying a lot of speed.
I believe in that third position might have a Extreme Wheel ES, could be Declan Courant.
Yep, that you are correct. In third place, Billy Blowers out in the lead, followed by Nicholas Van Orden, and then Declan Courant and Josh King in fourth.
Great to see those times pinging up there as Van Orden takes second, and Billy Blowers comes around in the first place. Second qualifier, first on the first lap.
And extending that lead, he's really stretching it out there. We'll see if Nick VO can track him down. Not a lot of grip out of that corner, so he's hanging back a little bit as they make their way up the hill into that top hairpin and then back down. Nice elevation change on this track.
5, 6, and 7 at the back. They are just exchanging places as well, further in the back there. Notice some of those riders being a little more cautious in those wet conditions. Racers out front going around the start-finish now, but a great battle in the back as well.
Yeah, our top 3 have really extended that distance out into the front as they make their way into those first couple corners. Seeing if they can mix it up even more. Oh, it looks like we're going to have a pass up into second. Can Nick hold him off? And he's able to get traction around the outside, going into the next corner,
Declan,
and he gets pinched.
Yeah, absolutely. Declan works really hard on that motorcycle background. Not really familiar with the e-bike, but he let that back end slide a little bit into that second corner, the second left-hand turn, and got that pass.
So your top 3 right now, Billy Blowers followed by Nicholas Van Orden, and then Declan Courant. Excuse me, Declan up into second. A little bit of lap traffic to deal with as well.
Ooh, it looks as though Billy Blowers may have had a little bit of an issue with his bike. No. Maybe he was up there. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think he did take the checker there. So coming around in first was Billy Blowers, followed by Declan Courant. And then Nicholas Van Orden in third. That's your top three for our first e-bike heat race.
It was great to see Declan Courant getting that pass on that second left-hand turn, just making use of it and secured the second position there.
And really a fast lap on that last one, getting close to Billy there at the finish line. But it looks like Billy was able to hold him off and take that top spot.
Yeah, we're looking at some mid-50-second lap times around here, and Declan put it on, and really that time 53 seconds versus Blowers 56 seconds. He was 3 seconds faster, wasn't able to catch up though.
Well, and if we look at those qualifying times as well, we're not that far off for a wet track for them to be putting in these lap times. So things are really getting better and better. Sun's coming out more and more. We're going to have some more fast racing coming up. Coming up right after this, we're going to jump into our e-scooter heat race.
Yeah, and it's great to see that track just looking a lot more normal. These racers looking a lot more normal. Let's see it in the chat. Let's give these guys some love for their first heat race on those e-bikes. So great to see those e-bikes making their way for those heat races. A little bit of an upset with Billy Blowers up front, but Van Orden, who qualified first, getting that third position. So great to see a little mix-up of the standings there.
Exactly, and a great pass there as well by Declan to get up into that second place position. And again, that will determine the order in the main event. So that will be our grid positions coming up for the main events after we get through these heat races. But coming up next, we have our e-scooter pro. That's Eric Wilson, Zach Darnell, Michael Brown, Joseph Taylor, Blake Rodovic, and Tony Ortiz for our e-scooter pro. And they're already towards the grid. We're about to get things going for this one.
Love to see it. The TEF1 race coordination team is working hard down there. They know exactly what they're doing. A couple notable riders in here, a couple West Coasters, Eric Wilson, Zach Darnell, great racers. Also, Blake Rodovic. He's the founder of PEV repair business himself, so he knows these machines inside and out.
We have Joe out there getting him staged in those grid positions as he walks off track. Green flag is out, and they're getting going. Our e-scooter pro starting things off for lap number 1 as they make their way through these first couple corners. And a battle heating up there for second, third, and fourth.
All right. We're getting those drones back up in the air, but we're commentating up here from the booth to let you know what's going on. These racers are making their way around the track, going to that back corner before going through that chicane to come through, and we're going to figure out who's in the first, second, and third position. But first position looks to be pulling out a little bit, creating a bit of a gap for the first 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last two behind, not far behind at all. A little bit of a tight race. Zach Darnell in that third position. It looks like the Weeped, an SKP rider potentially, coming around in first. Eric Wilson, yes.
So making their way into lap number 2. Again, 3 laps out here today for these heat races to determine the order into the main event. Like you said, they're making their way through. Leader out there extending that lead.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to see Eric Wilson out there. Probably one of the more experienced racers out of everyone here, being on the Alien Rides racing team. Really making a little bit of a gap, but not far behind. It looks as though we have a new second-place racer.
When these chicanes, these back-to-back chicanes really even it out. It seems like they bunch up a little bit as they come down here, and Eric loses a little bit of that advantage as they make their way into the final quarter on the front straightaway here. So one more lap, white flag is out.
It looks like Michael Brown is in that second position. I saw his name tick up there. So it looks like we got Eric Wilson, Michael Brown, then Zach Darnell, leaving a bit of a gap. The first and second, third place. Oh, and Zach Darnell's back down in 5th position now. It seems that he's falling back a little bit.
Yeah, must have had a slide in one of those first 2 corners, but that battle for the lead is heating up on the inside, trying to make a pass, but holding him off, and they are back-to-back, side-to-side into that hairpin up the hill.
Eric Wilson is no stranger to this type of activity. Seasoned rider waiting for that rider to come right up on his backside, unable to make the pass, and was waiting for his next chance at it.
Yeah, trying to take the opportunity, the wider line, but unable to hold it. Checkered flag coming out.
Looks like it's going to be Eric Wilson, then Michael Brown, Joseph Taylor, Tony Ortiz, and Zach Darnell, then Blake Rodovic to end it off.
What a race there, a battle on the final lap, almost changing that top position.
Yeah, it's great to see this. It's faster racing. It's drying up now. These racers are getting an opportunity to really dig in and show what they're worth. Some tight packs in there. Great to see the passing back and forth.
And again, big shout out to our drone crew down there, Ryan and Hudson post toast, giving us these great perspectives, great shots.
Yeah, you got to follow these guys on Instagram, post toast, something FPV, something.fpv. These guys are great. They're being pulled off the track now as they finished up their checkered. They make their out lap, and they get pulled in to the exit. So it looks like we'll be getting ready to see some EUCs pulling up soon. I see some electric unicycles in the staging area, Pete.
Well, you know, and that track looks more and more dry every lap we see.
Yes.
I think we're going to have some, I mean, for the main event here today, for the mains, we're going to have some dry racing, some really good fast racing out here. So appreciate all the hard work from the track crew out here at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
And, you know, shout out to our audience, are those people in the comment section for sticking with us through all of this. It's been a great day, a little bit, you know, hurdles here and there, but we're out there on the track, and we have electric unicycles making their way to the starting grid right now. Super exciting. Our drones are just swapping up, getting their batteries back in there between races, getting their opportunity.
Again, like you said, shout out to everyone out there in the comment section. Again, share this, pump it on your socials, get it out there, follow, like, subscribe, whatever they say, but get everyone on here. We have some great racing going on here for TEF1 Atlantic. We made it. We finally got some racing going, had some fun weather, some lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, it was exciting.
It's wild to be in a place where if there's lightning nearby, you gotta stop and not be out there. But now we're all out there and we're making it happen. So
We've had the benefit to just be up here in this awesome crow's nest the whole time. We have a nice view over here. We got our screens. I mean, what a setup.
dude, I had my coffee earlier. I was ready, and now
I've
I'm
had
all
like
caffeinated.
6 coffees. And I don't even know how I'm here.
Yeah, so it looks like we got SoCal Legend down there doing his thing, really working his magic. If you've seen him at previous competitions, he's got a little way of doing things, working his way through his grid, making sure everyone's in the right position, walking back up towards the front, eventually letting the flag person fly that flag.
And shout out to our flag girl, Justina, out here, waving that flag around. She's been hanging out with us all day, waiting for stuff to get going as well. Made the drive up here 5 hours to come twirl that flag around.
All right, looks like media's getting off the track. And we got a green flag for those EUCs in the first heat.
Big stretch and lean out there. Top 2 making their way into the first couple corners. And again, lots of grip as they get through there. So lots of speed, lots of grip. No issue right now.
Great to see it. Some of our older riders out there, too, proving that age is only just a number. Near the top, the front of the list, we got some of the fastest riders in our older category, or older riders.
A nice pass around the outside up into second place. They make their way along that backstretch up the hill, around the hairpin, into the back-to-back chicanes, and then the long final turn into the straightaway here.
Those EUCs just leaning into those corners now. We got 6 racers almost perfectly evenly spaced out on the track. So Roland's coming in first, I believe. Curtis, and then Eva, James Darnell coming around. And they're making their way into that really tricky second turn, that left-hand turn. A lot of water from the surrounding area kind of washes through that corner. The blower has to be in there. But they're still quite evenly spaced out, making their way around that track.
Again, a half-mile track out here. So fast laps being pumped out. They push their way through 3 laps to determine the heat order, or determine the order into the main event for our EUC Pro class out here.
So it looked like Aaron Doria was in that first position there, making his way across the line. That is no surprise to anybody here.
Yeah, so Aaron, followed by Roland, then Landy's son, your top 3 right now in heat number 1 of our EUC class as they make their way on their 3rd and final lap.
Kind of surprising to see Landy's son in that 3rd position. He's our number 1 qualifier, an absolute force to be reckoned with. But when it comes to these more wet conditions, it looks like he's trying to make his way to find that 2nd place and struggling just a little bit.
And we were talking about that, about how he was pushing those limits on his qualifying laps and unable to do that as much in these a little more slippery conditions. But again, Aaron Doria in the lead, making his way through that final corner and taking the checkered flag for heat number 1.
What a beautiful race by Aaron Doria, followed by Roland coming in on 2nd place, and Landy's son securing that 3rd position. After that, we got Eva Hall coming in, and it looks like one of the Darnells, James Darnell, and finishing with Curtis Hibbert of Toronto and the Synchro Racing Syndicate.
Yeah, it's great to see those sub 50-second lap times being pumped in there by Aaron as well as Roland Latham in those top 2 spots. So this track is heating up. We're fast again, and we are rolling through these heat races.
100%. Some of our fastest racers there were clocking some high 40s where they were pretty equal with those e-scooters and e-bikes, and they were just a few minutes ago just in those low 50s. So we're picking up. We're getting some speed in there.
All right, right after this, we're going to jump into heat number 2 of our EUC class as they make their way off the track from heat number 1. Again, 3 laps. Top 4 are making it through, or excuse me. Yeah, top 4 are making their way through out of each heat race into the main event.
So I believe they're looking for a 12-racer finish, 3 heats, and top 4 move on for each one of those. So moving on from this race, we got Aaron Doria, Roland Latham, Landy's son, and Eva Hall moving on.
The sun is coming out. It's getting bright out. Feeling that warmth on my back. It's beautiful out here. Thank you, New Jersey.
And what else is beautiful? That drone shot of all those EUCs making their way over to that starting grid. And I believe I see Declan back out there on unicycle. He was just out there on a bike securing that 2nd position. And he actually rides a rather peculiar wheel. He has an EXN on the outside, no suspension, does not ride pads, but the inside is not an EXN. I believe it is. I don't even want to be incorrect. He told me earlier, and I already forgot, but it's not an EXN on the inside.
All right, again, our racers for heat number 2 in the EUC class making their way onto the grid positions. Shout out to Joe, SoCal legend, for getting them lined up on the grid.
We also got City Surfa and Smalls down there in media, just getting those clips, getting those shots of these racers intensified and ready to go. So we're getting our information pulled up here. I definitely saw Declan out there. I see B-Rye, part of the Synchro Racing Syndicate out there. And maybe Show in all black up front there as well. Some very, very strong racers. We'll see how they duke it out here.
All right, looks like the racers are on their marks. Joe is making his way off the track as they look over at our flagger. And here we go for the next heat, making their way.
Ooh, we got no time wasted out front. I believe that's Show just leaning in real hard, almost undeniable form. Absolutely incredibly fast off that start. If that is Show. We definitely out there have Declan Carant, B-Rye, Brian Young, Maribel Vargas is on the track, Kong Ta, and Adam O also out there on that track. So a couple of Canadians, a West Coast, and a couple of East Coasters, quite familiar with these track conditions.
And Show making his way through that final corner onto the straightaway and being chased right now.
Oh, by Carey. Carey's out there on that track. Another Synchro Racing Syndicate racer. Absolutely great to see them duking it out for that first and second position. He's packing up, and then third and fourth position are real close together.
And again, top 4 making it into the main event. So you want to be in one of those 4 transfer positions. So at this point, if you're in those top 4 positions, I mean, battle it out because it is your grid position in the final, in the main event. But you want to hold one of those 4 positions. You got to stay on the wheel.
And it looks like we have a pack of 2, 1, 2, and a pack of 2, 3, 4 as well. So those are the ones prospectively we're looking at now as they make their way around that corner. Carey just fighting in that second position, trying to find his way up to that first position.
Show pumping in a 47.9 on lap number 2. So absolutely flying out there right now.
And right behind him, 47.90 versus the 47.98. We got Carey working hard.
Oh, it looks like a pass on that backstretch up into third. Potentially Brian maybe as they make their way around.
It looks like Brian Young, B-Rye might be in that 5th position. Merck making their way across the track. 1 and 2 coming around. I'm seeing a checkered flag. It's going to be a fight for the finish. We're going to have somebody leaning real hard in to take it. Is he going to take it? No. Show actually slips up real quick with his feet, taking that checkered flag. That was a really cool thing to see there. He looked behind him for a half second, realized he was gunning to him, and he just brought his lower end and shifted it forward. Unbelievably, to guarantee he gets that victory.
So Show taking the win, followed by Carey, and then Adam and Declan. So again, Show Scott taking the win, followed by Carey, then Adam, and looks like we'll have to get through here and see how it goes, and then Declan.
Yeah, it looks like first place was Show Scott. Second place was Carey Chyon.
And that'll wrap it up for heat number 2 of our EUC Pro class as they make their way off the track. We're going to jump.
Third. Declan Carant getting that 4th position. We got B-Rye in the 5th position. Looks like Maribel Vargas in the 6th position. So some great races out there. You know, it was great to see a little bit of the front 2 and the second and or third and fourth kind of bunching up together, a little bit of back and forth, and that battle, first and second over that line was one of the more exciting moments so far.
Well, and it's a tough one, too. If you're in one of those top 4 transfer positions, you don't want to battle too hard because you don't want to lose that spot. It's not really worth making that extra pass if you're just going to be 1 spot back. But it does determine grid positions into the mains. All right, so coming up in the next heat, Zach Darnell, Antonio, Richard, Michael, and Josh King.
A great heat by the looks of it. Zach Darnell is a force to be reckoned with, but we got 2 Alien Rides racers out there too. So they're going to be hot on his tail looking for that victory. That is for sure. Love those people in our chat too. Keep those comments coming in. Love to see Eskate Windsor out there and Zweems, E-Ride Life still hanging out in chat. Great to see y'all.
About to get things going for heat number 3 of our EUC Pro class. Zach Darnell on pole position, getting on the wheel, a little bit of a bobble, but able to get his foot on.
It's an absolute classic Zach Darnell start. You can't get more of it. This man leans forward, and it looks like he's going to fall off his wheel and go sideways every single time. And then look at that. Going into corner 2, he has got a massive lead in that first position, only coming out of the first 2 laps. Or first 2 corners, sorry.
So Zach racing in the EUC Pro as well as the E-Scooter Pro out here at TEF1 Atlantic, and stretching that lead out as he makes his way onto the back stretch, up the hill into that hairpin. So Zach Darnell holding down that first position.
Yeah, working real hard. Very, very classic style. If you see him racing, the way he positions his body, you know that's Zach Darnell if you're watching EUC racing. Antonio Vargas and RT Richard coming in those positions final right behind them, and Michael Kruder working real hard too.
So big lead out front by Zach Darnell right now on lap number 2 of 3.
No idea.
Again, top 4 making it into the main event. We have a 12 racer final out here.
You know, you see a couple of those Alien Rides racers, they may not be in first, but they're battling for those second position, third and fourth position. Going over there, they're getting close.
Yeah, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is really heating up right now. And they're gaining on 2nd right now as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the highlight of this race is you get that white flag, meaning one more lap to go. Darnell is way out front, but we're looking at the battle for 3rd place right now.
Antonio Vargas in 2nd, followed by Michael Anakin, and then Michael Kruder. And that battle is really going. Again, top 4 making it into the mains. This is the final lap of heat number 3 of our EUC class.
We do have that 2nd place, pulling out a little bit, making a little bit of a gap on those riders there. And the battle between for 3rd place as they make their way into that last full hairpin. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to make that pass, but they're keeping right on close to that rider, maybe waiting for an opportunity to torque it over this last line. Zach Darnell taking the finish.
Oh, here we go, coming across the line, and it's going to stay the same.
Antonio Vargas, Michael Kruder, Michael Anakin, and then RT Richard, too, coming in after that. Josh King coming over the line, and Carissa is going to finish up her lap.
Again, your top 4, Zach Darnell, Antonio Vargas, Michael Kruder, and Michael Anakin making their way into the main event. What a race. That was tight all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, as it's drying up, we keep saying it, but it's really good to see that battle for 3rd place. They were kind of waiting for an opportunity back and forth. Didn't quite get close enough. But Darnell, wow, just pulling out front. No surprise with that. He is the EUC World Off-Road Champion, but is absolutely no stranger to this track.
It looks like we have some racers getting staged and ready to go out once these racers make their way off the track, and we're going to jump into the EUC Sportsman class.
Was that 2 races or 3?
Again, so we're going to jump into our EUC Sportsman class next. We'll have 3 heats of our Sportsman class. The sun is out. It is a beautiful afternoon out here at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yeah, we had a little bit of cloud cover before, but we're getting a little bit of sun coming in, and that's really going to affect these riders and their devices, especially what we're waiting for later on to see those E-skates. They're really dependent on that sun, so it's great to see the E-skates getting an opportunity to hold back, let all the other divisions go. We're letting our EUC Sportsman first heat getting ready to go and lining up on the line. All right, so it looks like we're getting our Sportsman first heat getting lined up. Looks like Sam Pacheco might be out there. Patrick O might be out there. Omgits. Looks like Mr. Soup might be out there as well. George Perez. We'll see as they get them lined up, of course. SoCal legend doing his magic. And I'm sure the morale of a lot of these racers, too, is kind of, it's probably making them feel a lot better. There's probably a lot more excitement down there. We're seeing a lot more smiling and movement. So it's great to see these racers getting an opportunity to really show what they've got.
Everybody loves the sunshine.
Unless you're allergic to it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's a very good point.
And we got a green flag right off the line. These racers taking off for the Sportsman heat number 1.
They're making their way through the first couple corners.
I believe Zach taking a demanding lead off the top there. I was talking to him earlier today. Quite excited to get out there on the track. Very humble man. And look at him in that first position there, making his way through corner number 3.
Yeah, Zach, I believe, followed by Sam Pacheco up in that mix as well. So they're making their way around. Unfortunately, you're on us right now. We're getting those drones back up in the air. Batteries are getting charged as fast as possible, so we'll try to relay the information to you.
It looks like second place dealing with a little bit of wobbles as they're making their way across the line now. We have Zach, but it looked like maybe Samuel Pacheco. Might have been a pass there as well. Oh, it looks like Sam Pacheco's in the 4th position in the red shirt there. We're going to get these drones up and going. But for now, it looks like we got to fight for that 1st and 2nd position. Zach can't hold it off forever. But the racer in 2nd taking an extra wide line and not quite getting that time on the inside to go for the pass. But on the inside, we got a pass to take that 2nd position. And they don't know if they're racing right now. It looks like there's a bit of confusion there for a second.
Side by side up the hill. And then dropping back behind. Looking to get that inside line. Coming into the chicanes. That battle is heating up.
I love to see it. We got 2 different riders in the 2nd and 3rd position. One rider likes to take an outside line, finishing tight, and the other one takes tight, finishing wide. So we'll see how they negotiate those passes back and forth. But 3rd place had to break for a second, not able to make it past the 2nd position.
So Zach holding down the lead out there, followed by Patrick. Oh, and it's still the battle. The top 3 are trying to jockey for space up there.
It's one of the weirdest EUC races I've seen in a long time, seeing the 2nd position there kind of going forward, back. Maybe there wasn't enough room. Maybe the decision couldn't be made to get in there. So a little bit of gnarliness as he goes over the red-white corner.
Yeah, trying the early break and then try to duck under, but not quite getting through there. They're spacing out a little bit more. Top 2 making their way into the final corner as the white flag is coming out. 3rd and final lap for heat number 1 of our Sportsman class.
Oh, it looks like Zach and gets in there. Really? Oh, he made a pass. And he goes down in the 1st corner. He seems to be okay, but he lost that position, making Zach a demanding lead out front. We just hope that rider's okay. They look to be okay, standing up, checking their devices. We do have a lot of crew around, making sure they're all right. Medics on site. Everything seems to be okay with the racer.
They make their way through the 3rd and final lap for heat number 1 of our EUC Sportsman class.
And it looks like Sam Pacheco of AI Rides got an opportunity to get up in that 3rd position, a racer who had not decided to race until this morning. The owner of AI Rides as well, working hard, crossing the finish line. We have Zach taking that 1st position, followed by Patrick and Samuel Pacheco in that 3rd position.
All right, again, Zach taking the win, followed by Patrick, then Samuel Pacheco, and George Perez in 4th. Again, top
4 move on.
Yep, top 4 making it through. So 3 heat races, top 4 advancing to the mains. So that'll be Zach, followed by Patrick, Samuel, and George making it into the main event for our EUC Sportsman class.
Again, seeing that Synchro Racing Syndicate name come up in that second position, qualifying up into the final race. Really good to see these sportsmen getting out there. Again, for those who don't know, earlier in the day, we had these qualifiers, and that's what divided these racers up into these 2 main categories, the Pro EUC category and the Sportsman category. Now they're being pulled off the track now, and we're getting ready, I believe, for another EUC heat.
All right, as our racers make their way off, we're about to jump into EUC Sportsman Heat number 2.
Yeah, heat number 2. Looks like we might have a little more locals in this area. Sterling Broyles, Amber, Speed Queen, Shira of the Toronto E-Riders. Also here representing E-Rider Racing, a new racing company, maybe owned by myself. But she is a team member out there today. We've been working really hard in those intro to speed sessions, getting Shira and Karen ready for these races today. So shout out all these teams popping out of nowhere, just making racers able to get out on that track.
You know, I really like that not so subtle plug there. That was
Hey, had to
beautiful.
do it.
Well done.
Had to do
Way to
it.
drop that in there.
It's nothing but a name and friendship and camaraderie and just exchanging ideas at the moment. So it's really great just to have these teams popping up. And not only, not just teams that are based around retailers as well. It's really cool to see that.
All right, as our racers make their way into the grid positions.
Looks like I may have heard on a radio we are missing one of the racers. For those who don't know as well, if you're not ready for your race, we are not waiting forever for you. If you're ready to race, we'll have you race.
All right. Again, 3 heat races, top 4 out of each heat race, making it into the main event. Right now we're on our EUC Sportsman class.
There we go. We got some beautiful drones back up in the air, looking as beautiful as ever, giving us a view of that track. Shout out to Post Host, something.fpv. And they're off on that green flag for the second race of the Sportsman EUC Series.
It looked like Sterling maybe jumping out and holding down that pole position into the first corners as they make their way back into view for us.
Yeah, Sterling wearing a retro helmet. If you get a close-up look at that guy's getup, he's looking fine in that position as well. Some great form out of these racers, too. A lot of them coming around the corner looking very similar. It's great to see the sport developing as they make their way around to that first corner. We're having a bit of a spread for first, second, and a larger spread back into that third position.
It's also interesting to see the difference in styles, too, from the really low crouch down, holding the wheel, as opposed to standing up and using the arms more through these corners.
And it looks like coming over there, it is Sterling Broyles, followed by Jesse T. And in third position, Julian G., followed by, a nice battle between Shira Sheps and Amber Speed Queen on the track. Side by side, 2 females making their way through this Sportsman heat.
So Sterling out there with the lead, and Jesse trying to track him down. Again, top 4 making it into the main, but finishing positions in these heat races determines the grid positions for the main event, so it is still important to get up there and try to get one of these top spots to secure one of the front grid positions. But we've seen so far there is some prime overtaking spots on this track. We've seen a lot of passes so far.
Yeah, we're starting to see how these racers are kind of negotiating themselves. We're finding that big U-turn in the back is definitely an area where racers are taking different lines. As they get the white flag going across the line, it looks as though this is the final lap of the second heat of Sportsman EUC.
Your top three right now, Sterling, followed by Jesse, and then Julian, with Amber and Shira in the 4th and 5th positions, making their way through these laps. Again, final lap here, 3 laps to determine who makes it into the main event, with Sterling Broyles holding down the lead as they make their way into the final corners and backstretch of this track.
Sterling, not a stranger. He's also a multi-division racer here today at the Atlantic Division with TEF1, out on a bike earlier today, finding himself around that last corner. A racer in second, pushing up, maybe wants the position a little more, but he's like, nope, I'm going to take it.
So Sterling taking the W out here in heat number 2 of our EUC Sportsman class, followed by Jesse, and then coming up in third, Julian taking that 3rd place position, and then coming through for the 4th and final transfer position.
We're looking at Amber, Speed Queen, doing it herself with Shira Sheps of Vita Rider Racing coming in the very last position there.
Great race out there. Not a whole lot of passing in that one. They kind of stuck with those positions, distanced themselves out, but still good speed.
Yeah, you find that a little bit more with the Sportsman racing. There's a little bit more of a variance with skills as well, so you see a little bit bigger gaps, a little more learning on the track, but definitely quite fierce, a good competition in itself too. You're definitely you're gonna have a good time with the Sportsman EUC.
We're looking at some 53-second lap times too. We're still with those fast lap times in this Sportsman's class. We're gonna move on to heat number 3 in our Sportsman's class.
Yeah, another exciting race. It looks like we got Jackson, Ruben, Marquis, Ian, Rodolfo, and Phil coming up.
Oh, what a change in weather. Turned into a beautiful day out here. Getting a little bit of late spring action in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's one thing we're fearful about, so it's definitely a notable thing to say now when you get that sunshine coming down, bringing all that morale up. We're getting these heat races dealt with, and we'll get to those finals eventually, but we got one more heat of the EUC Sportsman, and then into our big Eskate heat.
And thank you guys, all you guys in the chat and are watching right now, for hanging in there through the delays earlier today. I mean, we're not disappointed. We got some good racing going on now. And
Yeah.
It looks like everything's going to be solid through the rest of the day. Shout out to TEF1 for making this happen.
Great shout-outs in chat. Great point. E-Ride Life, go for Sturbo in there. We got a lot of love for Shira, some Canadian lady love. A lot of the good stuff happening in chat. So great to see it as we're getting ready for one more final EUC Sportsman heat.
Looks like our racers are ready, about to get the green flag. And here we go. And already a pass up from second position into first. Looks like we have Ruben up into first place.
Ruben doesn't waste a second, but Jackson is no stranger to Ruben in that second position, pushing hard. And in that third position, it looks like it may have been Ian Budgel, but may had shifted through that first corner.
Yeah, a couple changes there between Marquise and Ian, as well as those top spots with Ruben jumping up into that top spot ahead of Jackson off the line. A great start to get things going.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a battle here. It looks like it's going to be in that 3, 4, 5 section in the back there. First and second kind of spacing out a little bit.
All right, as they make their way through lap number 1.
It's going to be Ruben White with Jackson close behind, holding their positions from the grid. Marquis hitting that third position. Rodolfo in the fourth. Ian in the fifth as they make their way around that track.
So Ruben jumping out into that top spot and holding it down so far. And Jackson trying to track him down. Again, top 4 making it directly into the main event. 3 laps to determine who's going through.
Yeah, Ruben, not used to being in the first position. I'm sure his heart is just pumping right now. And Jackson, hot on his trail. NC Eskate from North Carolina, working hard. Ruben out of New York City. So both East Coasters out there taking the first and second position, coming around to what looks like it might be the white flag.
Love the way they lean those wheels through that double chicane, seeing them just slalom through there. So again, Ruben up in that top spot, followed by Jackson. And then Marquise and Rodolfo in that fourth place transfer position. White flag is out, third and final lap.
Following behind them was Ian Budgell, Toronto E-Riders. He's actually on a V13. He's just borrowing the wheel. So some of these guys don't even have their machine tailored exactly to themselves. They're out there on borrowed machines too.
And increasing that lead out there, Ruben holding it down, coming through that backstretch. Love that uphill into that hairpin, and then back-to-back chicanes, really showing how that wheel can transfer weight side to side, and then the long final turn.
Ruben making a smart decision here, not punching too hard, and even celebrating as he makes his way across the start-finish line with Jackson with a little bit of a gap behind him, and coming around in that third position. It looks like it's going to be Marquis taking the third position and Rodolfo in that fourth position. Those four racers moving on with Ian Budgell and Phil D completing the race.
It's all good.
All right, that'll do it for our EUC Sportsman class.
And the EUCs in their entirety for their heats. Moving on into the finals, we have decided the top four of each heat that are going to move on. And it looks like my favorite, my personal favorite, a little bit of bias, those Eskates are going to be making their way onto that dry track. A very exciting moment.
And we saw in their sighting laps, definitely having some traction issues, but the track is completely different from an hour ago when they were out there. The grip is back. It's going to be a lot more like their qualifying and their practice time that they had this morning. So we're going to see some fast and clean laps out here. And we got some fast racers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Teddy out there, part of Washington, DC Eskate. Just DC Eskate, incredible crew out there. But one thing we got to think about with these racers now that we see Eskates out on the track, they're not getting a initial hot lap to warm up their tires. So there you go. There you see it. We got people running their back tires, and you see a lot of smoke. What they're doing is trying to introduce as much heat as they can into those tires, because when they are really cold or even at room temperature, those tires, they're like ice skates on that asphalt out there.
Well, you can see them spinning those tires and warming up those back tires, but it does nothing for the front ones. And that front grip is really important, especially in some of these off-camber turns. So they're going to have to warm those up in lap number one and then be able to maybe push that envelope a little bit more through the next couple laps.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult thing. I mean, if you have an opportunity to get your wheels warm before you get out there, you really have that one step up from everybody else. We got SoCal Legend checking out this field here. It looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 racers. Whew. And they're going to be looking for that green flag any second now.
And again, so our Eskate division, all of these racers will make it into the main event. This will just determine the grid position with Josh Speedwobbles on pole, but Teddy making a move along the outside.
It's going to be a fight for that first position.
And it looks like Teddy gets him into that first quarter. So Teddy taking the lead away from Josh Robinson in quarter number one. And then maybe Dina catching third, but being passed along that straightaway. So Dina dropping back into fourth place. Maybe Addie jumping up into third.
Keeping it really tight knit. The top six, they're all together and an exchange in position for that fourth place.
So Dina Ketch dropping back. Right now in the lead, Teddy Sadowski, DC Eskate represent, followed by Josh Speedwobbles Robinson.
And this is no surprise to anyone out here. Multiple podiums back home, finally having an opportunity to show it on a big track very close to home. But it looks like we're going to have a battle between first and second place.
Speedwobbles goes.
Woo! Just taking that position away. And it looks like Teddy's having a bit of an issue.
all the way from the back up into the lead. That might have been Jeffrey Peralta passing the whole lot of them all the way up into the front.
Now, I don't know if Teddy was having an issue or if he just ran out of max speed there, but everyone else started creeping up on him real quick. Another pass.
What a launch from the outside along that straightaway.
And a pass for second position. It looks like there's a little bit of a battle, and now we got a different person in the second position.
That's Jeff Peralta in second. So dropping back, but we saw his straight line speed along that stretch and that start-finish line through the double chicane, and the pack is still tight. 1 through 5, still heating up as Josh Robinson in the lead, followed by Jeffrey Peralta.
Jeffrey Peralta with those helmet flares on his helmet. You can pick him out by those, but 1 lap to go as we're seeing some of these racers come across now.
Josh Robinson followed by Jeffrey, then Addy, Colin Hamilton, and Teddy Sadowski dropping the 5th, followed by Dina Ketch in 6th. What a battle in our heat race for the Eskate division out here. Final lap.
Yeah, I see a yellow flag out there, but I don't see any racers down, which means they must have gotten up real quick back over to take that white flag.
Oh, and it looks
the
like
last racers.
It looks like Speed Wobbles is trying to find a gap, but Jeffrey Peralta keeping his elbows out, going a little bit wide in that top hairpin as they make their way through the back-to-back chicanes. One more passing opportunity coming up. Can Speed Wobbles take the run here from Jeffrey Peralta through the finish line? And he takes it!
Wow, that is a dead finish with those neck and neck. We had Jeffrey Peralta celebrating before the line, but he may have lost that position in his celebration. I'm calling it right now. That is not the thing you want to be doing on the track, but unfortunately, he might have to pay the price for it.
It looks like he held on. We check the timing here and look at the comparison there, and the gap was just 0.03 of a second. What a finish.
The man got lucky. You don't celebrate early, but the man got lucky.
Yeah, Josh Robinson from pole position, dropping back to second, but trying to take it there at the end. I am really looking forward to the main event. What a race from our Eskate division.
Do you see why I was excited?
This is a heat race.
Did you see
this
why I was
isn't even
excited?
the main event. This is beautiful.
This is where it's at. I love Eskates around the track. It's where I started in all PEVs. It's where my heart will be for a very, very long time. But wow, what a great race with all those racers out there and a great battle between that first and second position. Shout out to Speed Wobbles, really leading a lot of that race, pushing these racers fast. Gosh, that's exciting. I'm revved up.
I mean, that was great. You look at that first lap, and we had 4 wide through the start-finish line as they made their way into corner number 1, and Teddy Sadowski dropping back as the rest of them went by. But what a battle.
Yeah, we still have the last of the racers here getting off the track, but what a great battle. You know, I love this. I love this so much. Oh, I just want to be out there on that track racing with them so bad. All right, what a wonderful race by the Eskates there. Now, just a reminder for everyone back home, those Eskates are, they're doing that one heat, and that's going to decide what they're doing for the finals. So we have Pete just out on a little bit of a break right now. You're stuck with me, E-Rider A, up in the booth here. But it looks like that's going to conclude all of our heat racing for today, and we know all the racers that are going to be in the final races. So the EUC's Pro, top 4 of each of those heats moved on. Same with the Sportsman. Top 5 advanced from the e-bikes and the e-scooters, and all of the e-skates advanced, and they just figured out their grid for the final race here. Conditions outside, I think it's worth stop talking about it for sure. It's really nice. It's dry, but a little bit of wind is coming in here too, and a lot of the racers are kind of dealing with that. They're getting exhausted from the wind and out there. A lot of these racers kind of just losing their energy a little bit now, exhausted throughout the day. So I'm sure we got some morale pumping activities that are happening down there for them. We got Pete hopping back in the studio here. And it looks like we're going to get a little time to organize everything that's going on. And we may have time just for a slight break before we get into the main action.
Worth the wait, wouldn't you say?
You know? Yeah, absolutely.
All right, as we're about to jump into our main events, we're going to do our combined e-bike and e-scooter main event. But right before that, we're going to do what we always do and throw on the national anthems before the mains here.
All right, everyone. Right at the right time, we got these e-bikes lining up after the national anthems for the final race of these e-bikes at the TEF1 Atlantic Division out here in Melville, New Jersey at New Jersey Motorsport Park. An exciting race here. All of these racers were the top 4 in their heat. And it looks like we got the e-bikes and the e-scooters all together in a final race. A lot of the racers were talking about this. They both have 2 wheels with frames and handlebars, quite similar. Could make for a really interesting race, Pete.
Well, and a more dry track than we had in their heat races. So the track's just improved more and more as we've gone through the rest of the field. They started things off for the heat races. Now they get a great track. We'll see what they can do.
A lot of these racers were fearful of this the entire day, not knowing if they would get a final race due to the weather, but TEF1 making it happen, shifting things around, making these finals happen. Joe at the back of the pack right now, giving everyone his spiel, and we're looking for flags to appear near the front. Drones up in the air, there you go, getting a full view of everything that's going on.
All right, again, 5 laps to determine the champions out here for our e-bike, e-scooter main event. Looks like the racers are on their marks and about ready to go.
Looks like we got a green flag ready to go for the TEF1 Atlantic Division e-bike, e-scooter final race. And they take off, and we got an Extreme Wheel ES going out on front. It looks like it's Declan Courant into the first corner.
Oh, great launch, but going a little bit deep into corner number 2. Still able to hold them off as they make their way late on the brakes, trying to get up there. That battle heating up for first and second as well as third and fourth.
Ooh, being late on that brake, being a little libertarian with that accelerator. He's making a move on Declan in that first position. A little bit of a fight into that last corner.
Coming around the outside, setting him up on the inside, able to get past and hold him off into the chicanes. What a move. Set that one up from 3 corners before.
He was watching him, waiting for the opportunity, but Declan's not giving up, holding up that second position, going across the start-finish for their first lap. It looks like it's going to be Van Orden in first and Declan Courant in second.
It looks like that's Van Orden in third, potentially,
Okay.
with the orange on his bike as they're making their way through lap number 2. Again, 5 laps. A long main event out here. Lots of time to shuffle around.
Yeah, it may be a bike in first and a scooter in last, but it's very much a mix in between, a very even grid throughout the rest of the grid, and a battle for that first and second position.
It Looks like that's Billy out in the lead, followed by Declan. We'll see as they come through the start-finish line.
Yeah, most definitely in that first position. We definitely have Billy Blowers, followed by Declan Courant and Nicholas Van Orden in that third position, followed by Eric Wilson. And it looks like Josh King and Michael Brown, then Joseph Taylor, Sturbo, and Ortiz in that last position.
Billy pumping out a 46.7 on lap number 2. Absolutely flying out here and extending that lead. Declan doing everything he can to try to track him down.
Yeah, great perspective. The slowest lap just now was one of the fastest laps in their heat races. So it's great to see those speeds really picking up, and a big gap is forming between that first and second position. Billy Blower is just blowing the competition away.
Even faster on that lap with a 46.4 as they're making their way through.
It looks like it's going to be a battle for fourth and fifth here with an e-scooter and an e-bike. I believe that is Josh King looking to pass the Weephead scooter in front of him.
So as our field spreads out, fourth place again, like you said, Eric Wilson and Josh King battling it out. Scooter versus bike.
Wilson able to hold that wider corner there, holding a lot of his speed, and his exit speed was enough to keep Josh away.
And Josh on one of the smaller bikes out here, able to maneuver that thing through those corners, trying to go underneath and unable to get him, but following tight through those chicanes as they make their way through to the penultimate corner towards that straightaway.
We got a white flag for the lead of the pack, but that position, they're fighting for it as they're going for one final lap around the track here. This is their fifth and final lap. In that first position, Billy Blower is really taking a bit of a lead, and Declan Courant seems to be holding that second position.
Yeah, nice gap out there in the lead. Declan coming in second. Right now we have Nicholas Van Orden in third. And that battle still heating up.
Oh, it looks like we had a pass over there. No, and he holds the position. And a checkered flag for Billy Blowers as he goes across the line, securing his first position at the TEF1 Atlantic Division race with Declan Courant of Godmod in that second position.
And Nicholas Van Orden coming through, rounding out the podium in third, and that battle all the way through the finish line. Eric Wilson and Josh King really going back and forth all race, but it ended up being Eric Wilson taking the W. Taking fourth place, and in fifth, Josh King. What a race out here today.
The last of the racers going off that finish line there, but you could see it in his body language from Josh as they were going across that line. He wanted it real bad. As soon as they got over the line, he released and was like, didn't quite get it. They're having a great conversation, and when they finish these races, oftentimes, these devices are extremely small and quiet. They have conversations. They talk about the race that happened. They negotiate and any disagreements they had along the way. Giving them a unique opportunity versus a lot of these other racing devices you see out there, like cars and bikes and big loud motors. That was actually a great race to see. Love to see these conditions becoming quite favorable to the point where we're really seeing these guys starting to race.
Well, and fun to mix it up to having the e-bikes as well as the e-scooters mixing in there, battling back and forth. That'll do it for our e-bike, e-scooter main event. We're going to start rolling into our EUC mains.
Yeah, really cool. Congratulations to all of those racers and everyone who are going to be standing on that podium later today accepting their medals and awards. So love to see it. Those EUCs getting a little fired up down there. You're getting rid of those shakes and nervous ticks. And we're going to be off to a final race for the EUCs. And we do have a special event here today. We have a sponsorship from InMotion, the electric unicycle company, and they are going to be doing a race called the Future Legends. I believe the winner of this race is looking to go home with a V9 unicycle. So we'll see if that's going to happen here. We'll see how it looks like that's what it's going to be, because some people who did not qualify for the finals seem to be making their way onto that track now.
These are also racers who are new to racing, new to being out here in the EUC class. And they get an opportunity to be even more addicted to riding an EUC and try to take home another one.
Yeah. So it's a great opportunity from InMotion. Thank you so much for being able to provide us with this opportunity. And they're waiting for a few more racers to fill out that pack there. It looks like it's not going to be 3. It's going to be a little more.
All right, as our EUC racers make their way over to the track.
Yeah, trying to pick out a few of the racers here. We definitely have Shira Sheps out there. We have an Alien Rides racer, Brian Young, B-Rive, Synchro Racing Syndicate, and it looks like James Darnell is out there as well, one of our senior riders.
And just more racing opportunity for these racers who didn't make it into the main event. Get some more laps on this beautiful track out here, the Avenger track out at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, due to our scheduling rearrangements, we don't have the last chance qualifier as an aspect of this race, but we do have this InMotion race, which is kind of like that, a little offset near the end, and we're looking at a green flag, and off they go for the InMotion Future Legends race for an InMotion V9 electric unicycle.
Oh, and out to the front, Maribel Vargas passing 3 racers all the way out into the lead through corner number 2, and look at the gap already.
Love to see it. Some of the slower racers out front, the first lap is always exciting to see some of these racers making those passes, several passes in that second corner. Too many to name, but it looks like we got a Vargas out front.
And then James Darnell maybe in that second place position, but Maribel Vargas out with an early lead and commanding lead through lap number 1 of our InMotion sponsor race, the Future Legends race.
Yeah, it looks like we may have a Darnell, James Darnell in that second position, fighting with B-Rye of the Synchro Racing Syndicate, coming across the line, Darnell out front, but B-Rye looking for that pass in that second position. And another battle for third and fourth, but even that third position, B-Rye taking the pass to get the second position from Darnell.
Oh, and Darnell getting passed up again, so dropping all the way back to 4th place. Curtis Hibbert jumping up ahead of him as well. So a nice battle there from our 2nd, 3rd, 4th. But James Darnell not giving up. He's right on their tail trying to get back up into one of those podium positions. Maribel Vargas still with a lead, but it has shrunk a little bit through this lap.
Yeah, we got Curtis Hibbert making a pass on the Darnell back there to take the 4th position, making his way across. That man is an Olympian, no joke. That is fact.
So Maribel Vargas in the lead, followed by Brian Young and Richard 2, Curtis Hibbert, and James Darnell, your top 5 right now. Oh, and Maribel getting tracked down even more and trying to make a pass along the inside.
These men are going to want to show Maribel that they want first position as well. Pushing up to that position. We got B-Rye hot on her tail as well. Is he going to make the pass? No, she's going to hold her position to hold that second place into one of those last corners there.
Great racing out front. Maribel Vargas in 2nd place right now, trying to hold off as they make their way through the back-to-back chicanes. Nice straight line through there. The penultimate corner,
Almost
the checkered flag coming out.
And it's going to be RT Richard 2 from Toronto in the Synchro Racing Syndicate taking the InMotion Future Legends race, walking home back to Canada with a V9.
So your top 3, RT, Maribel Vargas, and Brian Young.
Great
What
to
a
see that.
race.
3 Canadians up there in the first 4 positions, showing that Canadians deserve to be out here racing against these folks. Love to see it. Right up with Maribel Vargas, the Darnells, James Darnell out there, Shira Sheps, Carissa, and Phil D filling out the rest of that.
And Richard pumping in a 49 flat on lap number 2, where he made those moves to get up into that first place position. What a fun race out here. Great to have extra racing. A bonus race.
Yeah, these guys battle at home. It's no surprise for me to see RT really push through that final few positions there to get it. These guys are out on their home track every week with these red-white corners, just trying to learn how to manipulate these vehicles, and they've really done it. So congratulations to RT. I believe that's his first major victory that he's had on an electric unicycle. Love to see it. Synchro Racing Syndicate, really hard coming in that first, third, and fourth position. Alien Rides with Maribel Vargas in that second position. And the grid kind of worked out too. We're looking at the results here. The ones who qualified in Pro were in the top 5, and the Sportsman evening out the rest of the field there. So great to see that race.
Shout out Team Canada.
Hey, we just want to race. That's all we want to do. If you have it here in America, we'll show up. We'll be there.
Love to see it. Well, that'll do it for our InMotion Future Legends race. Shout out to InMotion. Thank you guys so much for being a huge sponsor out here and getting that thing going.
And they're not the only sponsors. We have several sponsors out there today.
And RT down there holding up his brand new wheel.
He's already got his hands on the box. Super excited to see it go home. And he's a genuine man, too. A great guy. So if you get a chance to meet RT, the winner of the InMotion Future Legends race, definitely worthwhile.
All right, we're going to be moving into our mains. The rest of our mains, excuse me, with our EUC main events coming up, as well as our Eskate main event. 3 more mains to come, Sportsman's class, as well as our EUC Pro class and our Eskate Pro class.
Yeah, I'd love to see you calling it out in the chat there. All the Canadian flags popping up. It caught my eye. I threw a little let's go in there. Might as well. Hit like before you leave. We love to see it, Crying Hippie. Thank you very much. I believe we know that member there. So Terminator is also RT's name as well. We see that in chat. Yes, that was Terminator out there getting that first place. Make sure you like and subscribe to the TEF1 channel. You know, if there's another race that's coming along, you know it's going to be... He's out here looking for flags, and I'm like, no, you got to find the Canadian one. Oh, okay. He's got to find the American one, show the American
I wanted
love.
to show a little bit of love. Team USA, Alien Rides in second place with Maribel Vargas.
Yeah, yeah. How many racers were in there? Oh, that was a 50-50 race, half Canadian, half American. We have Richard, Brian, Curtis, and Shira as the Canadians, and then Maribel, James, Carissa, and Phil are the Americans. So
50-50 booth.
there you go.
USA and Canada.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, TEF1 originated and is based out of Vancouver, Canada. So love to see TEF1 giving these racers, no matter where you are, an opportunity for some real proper racing, long track, fast speeds, and we see some EUCs going out there. I see a Darnell. It definitely looks like we're looking at some pros out there. It looks like I see Zach Darnell out there. We're going to potentially Show is out there as well. Love to see it. Very big grid, just as much as the Eskates out there.
And it's going to be a battle, 5 laps to determine our podium out here in our EUC Pro class for the TEF1 Atlantic, our first TEF1 on the East Coast. First of many, I hope.
Yes. It's a great opportunity. A couple things to look out for. Remember the last race, Zach Darnell off the start. He's near the first position there on the right-hand side in front of the drone. You could see him there with the red top and blue bottom. Keep an eye on him for the start of the race. You'll see what I mentioned at the beginning of the last race with how he sets off. It's almost systematic. With so many racers, too, they're just trying to get everyone in the right position. May take a couple more minutes just to make sure everyone's in the proper position on the starting grid. Looks like we got Eva in this race as well. Great female representation around here. I love to see it.
All right, as our racers are getting on their marks in their grid positions, a packed final, a packed main event, 5 laps.
Looks like we got a green flag ready to go, and they're off for the EUC Pro Final of the TEF1 Atlantic Division here at New Jersey Motorsport Park.
Looks like Show Scott with a good launch. Zach Darnell in second place. And almost overtaking into that second corner.
Such a similar style with those two up front. We're going to see through the first 3 corners how this grid really works its way out. But per tradition, that second corner, you're seeing a few overtakes. And Darnell with a slight slip, giving Show an edge to give a little bit of a lead in that first position, going around to that final big turnaround to face the start finish again.
Show holding a nice speed, nice line through that back corner, in through the chicanes. The final corner along the front stretch here. Show Scott in the lead, followed by Zach Darnell.
And in third position, I believe that's Aaron Doria.
You are correct. Antonio Vargas in fourth, fifth, Michael Kruder, and then Kerry in sixth. So again, Show Scott in first, followed by Zach Darnell.
And this is no surprise to anyone who's been around EUC racing before. These are names we've seen on the podiums before, and we want to know who's going to be sitting on that TEF1 Atlantic Division podium here. 1, 2, 3. Looks like Doria's got his hand in there, Darnell, and of course, Show Scott up front.
It looks like Zach is able to gain some space through some of those slower speed corners, getting up closer to Show. Aaron Doria is going nowhere there. He's right behind the front two as they tighten up even more, coming through, finishing off lap number 2.
It's great to see it. Darnell in that second position. He's more inclined to make a rash decision, something that will make him really push ahead the first position. But in that third position, or first position, sorry. And in that third position, that is definitely a racer, Aaron Doria. He's going to be very methodical as he's looking at Zach, trying to find the right time to get around and get up to that second position, potentially even first.
Now, we've seen Aaron in the past, pass 2 and 1, letting them battle out in front of him and jumping up into that front spot. With Zach and Show battling it out for first and second place now, but Aaron Doria biding his time, trying to find a way through.
That the timing between those three has stayed consistent. So I don't know if they're just trying to bide their time, but it looks like coming across the line, we still got Show, Darnell, then Aaron Doria.
And Show putting in a 46.3, with Zach Darnell putting in a 46.2 and Aaron Doria putting in a 46.2, so gaining on him. But Show Scott able to hold him off. He pulls away ever so slightly after those first 2 corners.
Yeah, and it looks like the rest of the pack is evening out a little bit. We got a little bit of a battle for fourth position, and everyone else is kind of spacing out a little bit, pushing hard to try to get up to gain that next position.
Yeah, that's Antonio Vargas and Michael Kruder battling it out for 4th and 5th right now.
As they're making away the slalom or the chicanes before that final turn into the start-finish, we got Show with a little bit of a gap on the Darnell now. Zach Darnell, no stranger to speed, trying to get up there, but Doria, who rides a lot with Darnell, hot on his heels.
White flag is out. The final lap, 5th and final lap, as Show Scott holding the lead, followed by Zach Darnell and Aaron Doria. Your current podium positions as they make their way through, about halfway through lap number 5.
I'm kind of feeling sorry for Show Scott a little bit. He's a very talkative racer when he's out there. He loves to yell at other racers. He's got nobody to yell at right now. He's just way out front looking for that checkered flag as he's coming through the last chicanes.
Oh, Aaron Doria trying to find an opportunity on Zach, pushing as they go through the back-to-back chicanes. Penultimate corner. Show Scott knows it. But Aaron Doria around the outside. Can he get him at the finish line?
Oh, he may have.
He does.
Oh, no
Aaron
way.
Doria takes it away from Zach Darnell. Maybe a little bit of an early celebration.
Yes, and looks like we got Antonio Vargas, Michael Kruger, Landy Sun, Carey, Adamo coming into the next part of the race here. What a wonderful battle, but again, just like we saw with Jeffrey Peralta in that Eskate race, a little slight celebration actually cost him this position this time. 21 hundredths of a second. He lost that position potentially with a slight early celebration, just like Peralta.
Yep. I mean, that just comes down to that final lean. Looks like Zach stood up a little bit, and Aaron was pushing, fell asleep a little bit at the wheel.
You know, the race is not over until it's over, and this is just to prove that these aren't absolutely seasoned professionals out there. They're still learning a lot about this sport. And I think the big lesson for Zach Darnell after that race is the race isn't over until it's over.
What a battle for our EUC Pro main event. Again, your top three, Show Scott, Aaron Doria sneaking and stealing that second place position away from third place, Zach Darnell.
And these are names, we've seen them get first place in all these other races as well. What a great battle for the rest of them. But that middle of the pack as well, grinding real hard, getting those great conversations in as they're leaving that track talking about the race they just endured.
Shout out to Darius on here on the comment saying, nah, Show yells at himself.
Darius, another Knight Rider team member. Great to see Underground out there supporting these racers and even in the chat saying hey. So love to see those in the chat saying hi. Feel free to drop any questions as we make our way over into some more, I believe it's going to be EUC Sportsman.
Yep, the main event for our Sportsman class. And then to finish things off, we're going to have our Eskate main event. I mean, what a day. What a beautiful day it's become. I'd love to see it.
And I'm just pulling up the radar now, and I believe
stop looking.
I believe we got some good news. We can officially close the radar app. We could leave our weather app alone, and we could just strictly focus on racing. That's what we're here for, and we'd love to see it.
Well, as I look at what's behind us, let's just get these mains over with, and let's just keep this thing dry and fast. But I mean,
those EUCs, they won't have so much of an issue with that sun going behind the clouds there, but I'm worried if we get a little bit of time, that cloud might move. Those E-skates need that sun. That heat going into that race, off that stop-start, their wheels are going to be very, very cold, and that's going to be a big issue. We're hitting the end of the day. We run into this with the Eskate Con, with Electrify, and all these other races. As we get into these pros and these finals, we do need to get it done quick because conditions change as the sun goes down, making it that much more difficult for these racers to race at their full potential.
Well, and with the condensed schedule, these racers are going directly to the grid. There's no sighting lap to warm up those tires, so they're trying to warm them up as much as they can in that small stretch to get there. Burning rubber when they get to their grid position. This is going to be great. I mean, this has been awesome racing start to finish today.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the next one. What makes the EUC Sportsman really exciting is you're going to find people literally improving throughout the race and learning a lot of these skills, and you might see a couple good passes and individual action one-on-one with these next EUC Sportsmen.
And just taking a peek back at our lap times from our EUC Pro Final, Show Scott putting in a 46.1 as his fastest lap out here. Unbelievable times.
It's crazy. The qualifying times in every competition kind of vary from the final times, but these final times are fast. They're showing TEF1 what TEF1 is. You know, you get a big track like this, nice long track with great opportunities, and you just let it unleash. Let's get those times down.
All right, looks like we have some racers getting ready to make their way towards the grid for our EUC Sportsman main event. Just a few moments away from getting these racers on track into their grid positions for the 5 laps of the EUC Sportsman main.
And there they are. They're making their way around to the starting grid now.
All right, our racers into their grid positions. We have Joe out there getting them ready to roll.
We're going to get our drones up in the air. They just got the call. The race are on the starting grid. So soon we will grab those drones up in the air, and we will have them. Showing you exactly what's going on this track here. All right, and we're losing a little bit of sunlight. We got our studio lights popping on now. This is where it's at. Really feels like a full production at this point.
All right, the drones are back in the air. Our racers are on their marks, getting ready to go. Justina out there, our flag girl, getting that green flag ready.
It looks like a point, and off they go for the EUC Sportsman race here at the TEF1 Atlantic Division. Coming around in that first corner, a little bit of a gap, taking that first position. And a battle for second, and they're spacing out into that next corner, but second position kind of catching up. An early break.
Yeah, it looked like some tight lines going into that second corner, not able to carry the speed out for the rest of the pack, increasing that lead out in front.
Oh, and it looks like we had a pass. Jackson in second place lost his position, and now he is in third position. As I come across the line, we'll be able to tell you who is in first, second, and third for this EUC Sportsman final.
Through the back-to-back chicanes into that long final corner, sitting down and carrying some nice speed through that start-finish line. That's Ruben White in first place.
Wow. Ruben White working hard.
Ruben followed by Jackson, then Sterling, then Zach and Patrick. So Ruben out with a commanding lead right now.
And I believe Ruben may be on a Begode Extreme. He may have changed his wheel, but Begode Extreme in first position on a track race. That is crazy to see him demanding that machine. Jackson, it looks like he was able to secure that second position, taking Sterling, Sturbo, and forcing him back into that third position.
And Zach is right behind Sterling, trying to get up into that podium position right now. Ruben with a commanding lead, making his way through, finishing up lap number 2. Putting in some fast lap times as well. Right around that 50-second mark. So Ruben White.
Oh. So it looks as though we have a little crash on the track. Alex Pacheco accidentally running into a rider. He was able to stay on his feet and negotiate his way through there, but there was some close action side by side.
All right, Joe, you got about 10 seconds.
So our racers are making their way through. We have a yellow in Sector 1 right now as they clear the track. Big shout out to our track crew out there.
Bring the rider to the pits. Rider to the pits. Rider to the pits, please.
So again, big shout out to our track crew to clear the track. We're hoping that rider is okay. Ruben White still holding down the lead.
Yeah, of course, concern for our rider, but the race is still going on, and we've got Jackson in that second position and Sturbo coming up close behind him with Zach right on Sturbo's heels. So we're making our way through this EUC Sportsman heat here, or Sportsman final event.
So Ruben White still out in the lead, followed by Jackson, then Sterling. So Marquis was our racer who had the fall there coming into that start-finish line. Looks like he's up and okay.
It's unfortunate you get a little pedal clip action a little too close, and these devices are not like a lot of other bigger motorsports you see around. You will go down. So we see Ruben holding that lead about the same distance to Jackson, who's holding that second position.
It's heating up, though. Second, third, and fourth is tight. Ruben White taking the white flag for the 5th and final lap for our EUC Sportsman class main event.
1 lap to go here. We got 1 lap to go, and it was Zach that made a pass on Sturbo there, and Zach is in that 3rd position right behind Jackson. So there's going to be a little bit of battle to see who's going to be on that 3rd podium position. Remember, this is a final race.
And it looks like Zach is not happy with staying in 3rd.
Whoa.
He's trying to make a move up into 2nd place, trying to make a move around Jackson. He has the inside line. Will he take it? And he does, up into 2nd place.
Jackson's got an opportunity to take that slim line. Could he get close enough to secure a 2nd position out of this? But it looks like Zach was not wasting any time waiting for that right opportunity. In 1st position, we got Ruben White with his 1st ever podium. Right close behind was Zach P., Jackson, and Sturbo in that 4th position.
What a great pass there on the final lap by Zach, overtaking Jackson halfway through the lap and holding him off to take that 2nd place position. Again, your podium, Ruben, followed by Zach, and then Jackson for your EUC Sportsman main event. What a race.
That was, just like I said, great racing. Some people, you saw some early braking. You see some early braking after that 1st corner, and then by the time the last lap came around, they had figured out their lines, their braking points, all of these things they need to negotiate. We will be checking on Marquis. We hope he is well. He was walking around. It looks like he's assessing his vehicle and whatnot. So we may get you an update on that, but he looks to be okay.
Again, big shout out to our track crew and our medics out here. We have the best medics on site for anybody who happens to have a fall.
You know, the winner of that race, Ruben White, he deserved this. He really does. He's gotten his son Liam into riding unicycles. He's always out at most events he could find himself at. A very supportive man. He deserves a 1st place podium, and he got it. I'm a little emotional.
And a great race, you know, held it the entire time, had that great gap out front, and pumped in the fastest lap as well.
Yeah, I love to see it. We're getting closer into the evening now, so these racers may be getting a little bit tired, a little bit exhausted, but there's a lot of excitement out there, and here's the most excitement, especially for me and a lot of our viewers out here. Let's get a big let's go in chat for those Eskate racers making their way up to the start-finish line.
And we're not wasting any time. They're jumping right on track. And again, 10 racers in this main event. We had a heat race to just determine the order for this grid. Jeffrey Peralta up in that 1st place position, but almost was overtaken by Josh Robinson at the finish line. So Josh is going to want to get out there. Josh was our fastest qualifier into the heat races.
Yeah, don't forget that race that we had. A very, very surprising finish. A slight early celebration for Jeffrey Peralta, but he was able to secure that, unlike Zach Darnell in that EUC race. So we'll see how this holds up for this exciting e-skate race coming up. They're out there burning rubber. I see clouds of smoke. So they're really, like we said, trying to introduce as much heat as they can into their tires to try to get some traction. Unfortunately, there's some cloud cover, so they don't have that sun keeping the track really warm, radiating that heat back up into their wheels. So you might see some of these riders be a little bit more cautious into the first couple of corners.
And watch this start. Going to see if Josh Speed Wobbles Robinson can try to take it on the outside into that 1st corner. Jeffrey Peralta from pole position. Jeffrey has a lot of straight line speed.
Yes, he does. We got Post Toast out there at the drone giving us a beautiful view of this standing grid here. We're going to get SoCal to finish up what he's telling all the racers. Stay safe. And we're off for the Eskate final race of TEF1 Atlantic Division. And it looks like Teddy made a real big push to go up into that 2nd position right behind Jeffrey Peralta.
Teddy Sadowski, DC Eskate represent, launching all the way up into 2nd place, overtaking Jeffrey Peralta, or excuse me, Josh Robinson. Jeffrey Peralta up in first. Josh Robinson in third right now. So Jeffrey Peralta holding on to that lead. Josh Robinson coming on the inside and taking Teddy Sadowski up into second place. Josh Robinson takes it back.
Going through that third corner, a few of these racers slipping out a little bit, and it looks like that he is just starting to get into their tires through the chicane. They might get a little more liberal with their leaning, and we're going to figure out who's in that first, second, and third position. It looks like Peralta's holding it, but close on his heels as speed
again.
wobbles.
Josh's
speed wobbles working real hard with Teddy in that third position, showing he's not a force to be reckoned with either. A nice little grid closing out that fourth and fifth. They're catching up to make a lead pack of 5.
I think that's Addy in fourth, trying to make a move. Oh, we got a battle for that third. Oh, and Teddy Sadowski is clipped from behind, going down. So a big shakeup into that corner. Unfortunately, Teddy going down, getting caught up a little bit there.
Quick to get back up on his board. The other racer may have had a little bit of an issue. He has a little bit of an attachment on his back leg to his board. I'm not quite sure exactly what he's going to be looking for. It looks like he's carrying his board out, but we got coming around the corner in first position with headlights on his board, Jeffrey Peralta, with Josh's speed wobbles, taking his opportunity in the straight to do what he does best, to try to catch up to him.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Peralta up in that first place, followed by Josh Robinson, and then Addy Aurora in third.
Now as they're making the way around, we still have that same 2 up in front, 1 and 2, Jeffrey Peralta. Oh! It looks like he made a little bit of a tighter turn, giving Speed Wobbles a chance to get right up on his underside. He's going to take an opportunity to get on that inside, pushing Jeffrey out, and he's able to make that pass and take the first position away from Jeffrey Peralta.
And Josh Robinson capitalizing on that little bit of a mistake from Jeffrey Peralta up in the first place, and Jeffrey's down.
He's a speed wobble out, was that?
It looked like he got a little bit loose coming around that corner and slid out. So Jeffrey Peralta is off the side of the track from first to out.
Board one way, body another. This happens. No matter how crazy the event might be, these are electric longboards. They could just come out from underneath you.
So Josh Robinson out in the lead, followed by Addy Aurora, and then Teddy Sadowski back up in the third after that crash.
This is why you don't give up, folks. You get back on that board. Like we said, the race isn't over until it's over, and Teddy might be standing on a podium because of it.
And it looks like Dina Ketch making a pass up into fourth place.
Dina Ketch, the only Stooge Race Board member here today, really trying to prove her position here.
Checkered flag is out. Josh Robinson taking the win, followed by Addy Aurora, and then coming around from a crash to third place on the podium, Teddy Sadowski.
Love to see it. Teddy getting a great podium outside of his home city. He's known for getting a lot of podiums back home, but Dina Ketch making her way over to the start-finish line now to get that checkered flag.
And then coming through in fifth, Michael Vicio Gramps taking that fifth place position.
So, I mean, this final is proven so far as they're finishing up to be exactly that. An Eskate final race. We had a little bit of carnage, some passing, a lot of excitement. Great to see those guys really, and ladies, pushing hard on that track.
That was absolute chaos. I mean, you saw Teddy Sadowski going down, battling up for that second, third place position, able to get up and still make it onto the podium. Jeffrey Peralta also out in the lead, getting past in the second, and then unfortunately slipping out and not able to get up in the mix. But what a race.
Makes it such a unique sport just to see these racers. You could be in first place, and you have a slight problem, and it takes you out. It wasn't even someone else. It wasn't, your machine. It's just mistakes happen. Jeffrey Peralta ended up paying the ultimate price for that today. Unfortunately, a very strong racer. He's an AVS Sportsman first place finalist in the past. So we hope he is well, and all the other racers that went down. There's another racer now who's making his way from the back corner back to the start finish now.
So again, your podium out here today for our Eskate Pro main event. Josh Robinson taking the win, followed by Addie Aurora, and then Teddy Sadowski in third place.
Now, what a wonderful day it has been. What wonderful races that we've had. Great finals and some very surprising podiums as well. A couple of upsets, like we just saw right there. Jeffrey Peralta going down, and he was a favorite to win this one. So what do you think about the results here, Pete, today?
Just unbelievable racing.
Yeah.
I mean, the results are great, and everyone making it out there here, and hopefully everyone who crashed there in a couple of those main events is okay. But what a race. Just love to see it. I'm glad we made it through the storm, made it through the lightning and the wet, and we're able to have fast, good racing. That's
what it's all about. At the end of the day, we just got to get out there and make this happen. So big shout out to TEF1 for organizing and taking an entire schedule and making a new one this morning. So shout out to them. An absolutely incredible help in making all of this happen, of course.
Big shout out to TEF1. Big shout out to DRT Racing, Alex Mock, for doing the live stream and the timing out here today.
Note the and. That is a lot of work.
That was a lot of work. Our flag expert, Justina, great job out there. Thank you for coming out, taking the long drive up here, 5 hours. Shout out to your mom as well. Mom or sister, I can't tell. And shout out to our sponsors out here, Spark Cycle Works, Zeus Cycles, Armored by Lazy Rolling, Draggy Motorsports, A Rides, InMotion. Shout out to everyone for coming out. What a great event. So many fans out here. What a great place. New Jersey Motorsports Park. This has been unbelievable. Shout out to you, Brett. This has been a blast.
Shout out to you, Pete. It's a great opportunity to be up here. You know, I'm always on these panels with different people, so it's really cool to be able to explore what New Jersey Motorsport Park and TEF1 had with you here today. It was great fun. I love it.
Well, I think that's about going to do it for us. I think it's my turn to get out on the track.
Hey, that's what we're talking about. Before the rain comes, it looks like we may have an opportunity to have a little fun. So make sure that you like and subscribe to the TEF1 channel. I'm sure they're going to be announcing another race again soon, and you wouldn't want to miss registration to even go and race there.
Yeah, let's get more people out here. Let's travel. Everyone get out here to these events. Let's have more racers, more community coming out and being here. So thank you guys for tuning in on the live stream. Thank you for all of your comments. For Pete Arneson, for Brett Brownlee, this has been great.